can't.
But at least someone says I've lost weight.
Hey?
At least someone says I've lost weight.
I'm surprised he is able to type with your cock in his mouth.
Wow.
Quite honestly. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel.
That was live, was it?
Yeah, that was live. Yeah, that was live. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine Thursday afternoon. It is actually lovely and sunshine outside. Lovely and sunshiny, in fact. It's just chuffing fucking cold. In fact, it's so cold that I put the heating on up here, and Toby has decided to vacate his office downstairs and be in here to work for the afternoon because it's so cold.
Yeah, I thought the North Pole had literally migrated to the second floor of Robbie House.
I let you have your radiator on.
My radiator was on, but it's not warm enough.
It's next to you. You're sat next to it.
You were cuddling your radiator going, I don't know about you, but I'm fucking freezing.
No, fake news.
Who the fuck designed this sprue? Jesus Christ.
Games Workshop, probably.
It's all over the place, isn't it? It's wild.
I fucking hate it when literally the torso is on one sprue and the legs are on another sprue.
A lot of kill team sprues like that. Do you remember when the Orc Commandos came out? The head would be on one sprue,
But-
like part 1, and then part 7 would be the head next
I
to it
think
on the
that
7
one
there.
is supposed to be connected to this one, I think.
Yeah, but
I think
it
they're
should
all-
be on the same frame.
But they're all connected together and they're broken into 3 bits to be put in the box.
Yeah, I know that, but
Right, so it's
it should just be on one. They should all be
Well, they are on the same-
together.
They are on the same
like
sprue.
that.
They're on the same sprue and then broken down to be put in the box.
No.
Anyway, good afternoon, you wonderful people. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine Thursday afternoon. It's beautiful sunshine outside and about 1 degree here on the sunny south coast. We're one of the very few places in that the electrical people are phoning me right now, Toby, so he's probably going to call you in a minute.
Okay.
One of the few places in the UK that currently hasn't got snow, as far as I'm aware. Anyway, if you haven't already, please make sure you smash all those magical YouTube buttons. First, hit that like button if you enjoy the content. Smash subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon if you want to be notified every single time we go live or drop a new video. Alternatively, you can become a member of the Great Hall. And if you do that, you can get yourself in Discord, hit the right reaction roll, and then every single time we go live, or if we schedule a stream, it also tells you. And that is a cool way of keeping up to date with all the content, and there's lots of content coming out all the time. In fact, if you are in Discord, you will have noticed this morning there's a new video dropped at 9 a.m, an updated behind the scenes for Hobby House downstairs. So if you're a member, you'll be able to watch that already. If you're not a member, you can't watch it because it's super ugly footage done very, very badly on a phone with my ugly mug. It's not worth putting out to everybody. So, but if you're a member, you get to see the update and the progress. Your comments are amazing. Love seeing the comments about what's going on downstairs. Feel free to tell everybody how great it looks. That'll help us out. So today I came in and yet again, much like last night's topic of conversation, I was like, there's not really a lot to talk about really. Not loads. I had an idea for a topic. I've now banked that topic because Joe said, actually, I wanted to talk about something to do with terrain. This topic was your idea, Jojo.
Yeah.
He's deep in concentration because I've given him a new Corsair kit to build.
I know.
He's very excited.
You say you gave it to me. I was like, I'm building this.
Can I build a set of Corsair was the question, and I said yes.
Yeah. Because I was like,
That's democracy, innit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm bored of trees. And basically, the concept was Liam decided to go with a slightly more clickbaity title than what I was heading for. But
because it's YouTube, that's how it works.
yeah, was that basically is tournament terrain not viable anymore? And my idea being is
You mean narrative terrain?
Narrative terrain, because there are armies that just flat do not function unless it is on tournament-style terrain.
Do you reckon?
Like Eldar, like Black Templars, Drakari, Emperor's Children, armies that are mostly toughness 4, toughness 3, 3-up save, no real access to invuns. So when you put them on a fun narrative board, right, and they can't just stage and hide in a building, they just die. They just evaporate.
So my clickbaity title, as you called it, is actually relatively relevant, isn't it, to be honest with you? Because what I said was, does narrative terrain ruin Warhammer 40k? Yeah. So if you are a player who's playing one of those factions, if you're playing a all melee Templars or maybe Blood Angels or perhaps Eldar army, would you therefore then say that narrative terrain will ruin your experience? Yeah. So it's not that clickbait, is it? It's exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, I just flat out don't understand how this is even a conversation. Because, like, okay, I understand the concept, but by saying, like, the terrain is the problem, you need to then go into more definition of what type of narrative terrain, because a shooty army we're playing a big narrative game on a field where there's 3 trees, and you've got Tau versus, I don't know, let's say Emperor's Children, and it's like 3 hammerheads, 3 riptides. You're going to run at me, Mr. Emperor's Children, and there's some objectives, yeah, but I've got all my guns in line of sight. We can shoot whatever we want. They're going to have a bad time, the Emperor's Children. But if you've got a high dense city table where you've got not a lot of sort of like gun pathways, you also have to then funnel your melee-based army down like shooting lanes and corridors. So that, to me, kind of evens out a little bit. So I think whilst narrative tables maybe ruin some types of game, it's no more the table or the terrain's fault than it is the army rules. Mic drop. I'm going back to my table.
Yeah, he's got a point.
But it's a but, Joe.
But I think
Yeah, there is.
everyone has a different idea on what narrative terrain is, right?
Fair.
Because I think narrative pre-built boards a la
Allah? No, he's not involved.
Warhammer World.
So
kind of like
your White
display
Dwarf battle
your
report
massive,
tables.
Your
Yeah.
massive kind of purpose-built stuff, I would say is the dead end, the end of the narrative scope, right?
Yeah.
And so on the sliding scale, I think most people, when they go, "What's a narrative board?" they think of like 5th, 6th, 7th edition. When they go, "I've got a church here, I've got a power station here, I've got a church here,
Yeah.
I've got a house, and then I've got some trees," and like they go, like it looks like a place, you know.
So
And
it's not asymmetric,
It's
basically.
not yeah. So like, I think the problem that we have nowadays, right, is that I think people confuse narrative with asymmetric. You know, like it's not. It just looks like a random cobbled together piece of stuff.
I mean, a lot of that maybe comes from the realm of, you know, and it's no one's fault, but like, you know, if you're doing a big tournament and you need to get a lot of tables that are all exactly the same, the likes of your MDF terrain and that becomes very useful in those sort of situations, doesn't it? But like, does the question pose then that like non-asymmetrical tables ruin Warhammer rather than narrative tables?
I hate symmetrical tables, though.
Same.
I
But
hate
what
symmetrical.
if you live in America with their grid system based housing, where everything's just in a circle?
I mean, it's not that symmetrical. There's more
Like-
symmetry to it than what we're used to.
Yeah. And
I can't stand symmetrical tables. I hate it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like it because it gives a level of balance, right? That's why like a chessboard is
So
a
from a gameplay perspective, yeah, 100%.
is a set grid system, and it gives, whilst some armies may be imbalanced, it then gets you both on equal footing.
So then the issue still isn't the training, is it? The issue is the fact that the armies are imbalanced.
And after I made myself the enemy on the channel the other day, I'm going to continue now. I don't think tournament terrain is the problem. I think it's the community's kind of issue with the material. Because if it was all GW released plastic buildings that tournaments were using, right, people wouldn't bat an eyelid. But because it is cheap, manufactured, laser cut terrain, people have an issue with it because TOs aren't putting the effort in to make them look
Games
fancy.
Workshop aren't putting the effort in. I was watching the final of the World Championships. You had a battle mat. You then had cut rectangles from a different coloured battle mat to show terrain footprint. You then had plastic GW ruins because it was their stream, and it looked fucking shit.
I think that's because of the American mindset to tournaments. Because, like, talking to a lot of people, talking to the guys over there, they were like, well, like I said, like on the stream the other day, is that the tournament mindset in America is you go to win, right? They don't really care about how it looks, how it plays. Like, this is in no way like throwing shade to them, but when you look at like a lot of the American armies, it is the bare minimum. They just want to play a game and be good at it.
Yeah.
So like the terrain, if they're not putting that effort into their armies, they don't really care about what's going onto the table in terms of terrain either. I think Games Workshop could have put a bit more effort into their own personal streams.
I think for the top table final of the World Championships, I think they should have.
I think they should have, but I think at the same time they're trying to make it the same as what everyone else is playing on. In terms,
I mean,
of,
I get.
in
So
terms of balance.
I think they can. I think the layout can be the same as what everyone else is playing on, but there's still definitely a way you can present that significantly nicer than they did, in my opinion. And maybe I'm being harsh and overly critical, but because I would rather have a disadvantage based on a narrative terrain layout that's sort of coercive with that narrative terrain layout than have a perfectly symmetrical L-shaped ruined table all the time.
Yeah.
It's my preference. And I know what you're saying. You're saying that having that symmetrical layout and those L-shaped ruins, if they weren't like shit MDF, because I also fucking hate MDF terrain.
Yeah.
If they weren't shit MDF terrain and they were like, and when I say I hate shit MDF, I hate just like, because there's some, like we've worked with Daryl, right? We work with Daryl who does loads of like, different like layered kits of MDF. So they've got like depth and they've got like they've got lots of like detail to them. So I just hate the L shape, that big, L shape, that big. I fucking can't stand it.
Yeah, but that's also the nature of mass production.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Because obviously when you run a tournament that's got 10 tables, it's quite
But surely,
easy.
if you're saying that the reason why you think that terrain layout is better is because of things like balance and fairness, especially for example for things like combat armies who need to stage, then what we're actually saying is the rules are the problem, not the terrain. Because if the edition was like, you do not need that level of terrain in Heresy. You definitely don't need that level of terrain in AOS, nor do you in Old World.
So there's less shooting.
Yeah, of course. Well, there's not that much less shooting in Heresy.
Oh, but in Heresy, the guns are less efficient.
But also,
Right,
like,
so it's the rules that's the problem.
yeah,
not the
and if you
terrain.
look at the, like, would you be, I mean, again, I don't play competitively, and I know that you guys have a lot more experience than I do, but do you think that you would be having this conversation if it was towards the start of 10th Ed, where the lethality was a lot more dialed down? Because I don't think it would have been so much of a problem.
Start of 10th Ed was fucking mental.
Yeah.
Start of 10th Ed, the lethality was through the ceiling. This is the point. Like, I started running Eldar start 10th Ed and very quickly put them away. Because when I can delete an Imperial Knight without seeing it, terrain becomes irrelevant.
Well, okay, touche, sir. Yeah.
But also, me and Liam were talking yesterday, and you said you weren't. This is where my secret agenda comes in. You said that you weren't enjoying playing Eldar. You're just getting flat packed every time you run Eldar.
Yeah, this is where I have a problem with
Recently.
the core mechanics of the rules, because I don't want to play. So if I play my Eldar with my movement shenanigans on perfectly symmetrical L-shaped tournament terrain, I do all right. I do quite well.
Yeah.
The game's quite balanced, right? Facts.
Yeah.
And the win percentages and the win rates of Eldar are within that Goldilocks zone that they keep talking about. So that kind of tracks. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The second I put the same sort of list down, and I did handicap myself a bit. I put the Avatar in, which I wouldn't normally do for me.
You
for
took a lot of
competitive Eldar.
Harlequins yesterday.
I took a lot of Quins because I was like, Brom hasn't played for ages. He's not the greatest when it comes to Warhammer. I underestimated how good Ultramarines are now in that detachment as well with that -1 wound strat. I didn't think he's not normally the person to spam the same strat every turn as well until he realizes it's really fucking good.
Yeah.
So I did I'm aware, but part of the problem is the terrain, and I'm like, this is me being selfish and greedy, but I want to play my favourite faction and be able to have a good time whilst also playing on a narrative terrain layout that, and I agree, asymmetric doesn't mean narrative.
Yeah.
And narrative doesn't mean asymmetric. They are not mutually exclusive. However, I definitely have an easier time believing a scenario and a situation that isn't symmetrical on a 6x4 board or a 44x60 board. So what I said to you was honest and genuine. I'm not enjoying Eldar at the moment on narrative terrain layouts because you're right. What happens is I go, I haven't got anywhere to hide. So my opponent goes, I can see you now. All your stuff's dead.
Can I? I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Okay.
All right. I'd say that's always been the case with Eldar.
No, because I play a lot of Eldar on with my old business partner on very narrative tables and had a great time.
And but like even then, there was still a lot of terrain on the board.
There was a lot, yeah. There was
Right,
a lot. We had a
so-
lot of the terrain on the board on Tuesday.
Yeah, but because it wasn't, there weren't many buildings to hide behind
Or in.
It caused a trouble. So
It did.
So you'd almost argue that even on narrative boards, big L shapes are essential to play the game. And then I will go even further, right? And I'll upset people with the truth and hard facts here. Since Games Workshop released the Cities of Death terrain in 5th edition, what is the shape of all the buildings and ruins that everyone made?
Yeah, L shapes, right?
L shapes,
for the most part. I've seen people make some.
Yeah, they've made
stuff,
some weird shaped stuff, but it's all the game has always been big L-shaped ruins,
Right.
Right, they're big. Sometimes they're small, sometimes they are big. The game is built around the ability to hide in a ruin. Things like hills break the game. I feel like they've always broken the game.
Well, at least before there was some rules that existed around these pieces of terrain.
Yeah, but in the streamlining of rules and making the game more accessible to everyone, you have to then reduce the complexity of additional rules from your army and the core rules. So terrain rules had to be simplified. 9th edition had a mixture of things like trees and small ruins that reduced your visibility but didn't give you a better save kind of thing.
Yeah.
I do think that they should probably come back a bit.
Yeah, and this is where I was going. So what was interesting was when you suggested the stream topic, I always have a little 5-second in my mind, is this something we can talk about for a while? Is this something that's going to spark reaction from the community? I'm going to be straight up. I always ask the question, is this something that's going to get people wanting to super chat so they can make their point heard?
And they still...
No, but I do, because it's important for the channel, it's important for the stream. Is it something that's going to get people to gift loads and loads of memberships? Well, no, because Joe's back on the camera.
People don't like me anymore.
So
I like you, Joe.
But I was sat there, I was thinking to myself, what I love about the stream topic is I was taught something when I was doing fault finding and fault investigation. And it's something that I've taught Luce to use, and it's very simple. They call it the 5 whys, right? So when you have a leak on a system, for example, you go, so what's the fault? The system's leaking. Where's it leaking? It's leaking there. And what you could do is you could just fix that leak and then it would be good. But what you should do is you should say, well, yeah, but why is it leaking there? Well, actually, it's because that pipe is vibrating whilst the engine's running. Well, why is that pipe vibrating? Well, actually, because that clip's loose. Well, why is that clip loose? And when you do that why, what you end up getting to is the root cause.
Do you find that Luce does that quite often?
Why? Yeah. The kids do. Yeah. But you get to the root cause of the problem. If you then solve the root cause of the problem, you solve all of the further problems that come after that root cause, which ends up meaning you fix your leak, right? Now, with the is narrative terrain making Warhammer worse? I ask that why? Well, no, it isn't. I don't think narrative terrain is what makes it worse. I think it's the way that the core mechanics of the game and the lethality of the game interacts with that terrain rule. So I don't think it's just down to narrative terrain makes the game worse, because like you said, narrative terrain makes the game worse because units can't stage in ruins and units can't hide in buildings, because you don't have ruins and buildings, you have hills and trees and like dense pieces of terrain. And then furthermore, because the game is quite lethal and things can look from across the side, and the board's got smaller, things can look from the side of the table and just delete units of elves, for example. Yeah. I'm now not having the greatest time playing the game. Yeah. At the same time, not only is lethality higher, the game's littered with feel no pains and invulnerable saves. It's a real. So when digging into the depths of it, I don't think narrative terrain is necessarily the problem. Yeah. I don't think competitive terrain is necessarily the answer. I think that what we actually should be looking at is the depth of the core rules and why a game like Heresy has nowhere near as much requirement for terrain. And if you watch the game when John came and we launched brand new Heresy on the channel, the first turn or two, not that much stuff died.
No, I mean there is just to be the caveat, there is an inherent problem with the terrain rule set in 3rd edition Heresy at the moment that is, a bugbear to most of the Heresy community. But
what's that then, mate? I'm unaware.
Okay, so like there's like light terrain, medium terrain, heavy terrain, just for like layman's terms. Some of the terrain rules, it's like literally like, well, if your corner of this is here, it can't see, but you can see X, but you can't see Y. And it's all very, very convoluted. Channels like SN have had to like basically home rule it, which has kind of become the go-to now, where everyone's like kind of just classing everything as light terrain because it's a way more straightforward way of doing it.
Okay.
Now, the thing with Heresy, and again, with Old World and with AOS, now AOS doesn't have very much shooting in comparison to the other games. Old World is the same. Heresy, there is a lot of shooting, but it's a lot of stuff shooting toughness 4 because 90% of everything is Space Marines, right? So in terms of balance, the terrain doesn't make an awful lot of difference because you're shooting the same guns as your opponent 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, and you're always getting a 3-up save.
And you're always getting a 3-up save because, again, the AP mechanic is back to the old way. So,
right, but at that point, right, what we're essentially doing then is, in essence, to some degree, we're comparing Heresy to chess.
yes.
When the opponents have got the same pieces, it's a much more balanced game.
I mean, I personally, and this could be a hot take, it might not be, like, I don't really want to play a super duper balanced game because if everything does exactly the same all the time, then it's just a case of who's the better player. And I don't, I'm not a great player, so I'd always lose.
I've heard this rhetoric from people as well. I don't want to play a super balanced game. And they all say that until their faction is one that 10 years ago had shit rules and never got an update. It just got pounded every time it got put on the table.
Yeah,
And then those people really want a balanced game.
I mean, I would say that, for me, I would still say no, not massively, because my enjoyment from the game, and again, this I think probably comes down to how much like a narrative versus like say an asymmetric tournament table maybe bothers someone, is like what you are playing the game for personally, right? Because if you are playing competitively, I can completely understand and sympathise with someone wanting it to be as balanced as possible, so it is a skill-based, my skill with my army versus your skill with yours. The terrain being asymmetric or symmetrical or whatever, meaning that you're basically both given the exact same footprint and you just have to basically roll hopefully better than your opponent and make better strategic decisions. Yeah. I can understand that, but I'm not someone who would get anything from that. That's not where my enjoyment comes from. I like to see a story be told through dice plays, and I don't necessarily mind if my army back in, like 6th ed hadn't had a book for 2 editions because they were the army I liked because I liked the narrative behind them.
Do you not think though, I'm open to being wrong here, but do you not think that if you played 100 games of Warhammer and lost 100 games of Warhammer, you'd be like, I'm getting a bit fucking bored of this.
Liam, you vastly underestimate how many games of Warhammer I've ever won.
So I think the better standing is that the game needs to be balanced, but I think the game needs armies that are hard to play and armies that are easy to play. So like armies that are harder to play, you will lose more, but once you get that skill level with that army, you will start to win.
So the work grants you rewards.
Yeah. So like for instance, he likes me talking about him anyway. So we'll take Paulie for example, Mr. Sky Serpent.
Yeah.
He plays purely Drakari.
He does.
Drakari, and he's now going to events like LVO and going 6-0, going undefeated, getting into world championships, doing events going 5-0, 4-1. And he's put a graph in because he knows that army inside out. But not many people can pick up Drakari and just win with it because it's such a really hard army to play with. I do think that so the balance is off in the core set in that you can't just play it and do well. You have to get good at it. And I think the game needs hard armies and easy armies.
No, I'd agree with that.
And the easy armies win more because their rules are better. But obviously that skews things like competitive play because people just want to win the easiest way possible. So they just take the easy armies.
Yeah.
Which means that when a good player runs an easy army, they're still more likely to win over someone who's taking a hard army that they're really good at using, right? But I think it's a mindset thing. You have to know going in, the army you've picked is a hard army to run.
Yeah.
I think people need to say if someone picks up something like Guard, for instance, and they win, they lose 20 games, you go, yeah, but you've lost 20 games, but you're learning and you're getting better, and you will eventually start to win, and then those wins will come more because you're much better at doing it. So, like, it's a choice.
But also, I suppose there's the element of, 40k has a lot of factions, and within those you have a lot of detachments and a lot of different units, right? So it doesn't matter how much you can think you've covered your secondary game, you've covered your point-click delete units and things like that, is there will be, no matter how good you are, faction A comes up against faction F. Faction F just normally bodies faction A, even if it's a really good player, right? But then, there's only 6 sides of a dice as well. So there is the element of chance every time as well. So I guess it's a lot harder to balance in that sector as well, because 2,000 points of guard and 2,000 points of marine from a narrative standpoint doesn't look like what it would look like in narrative. So
I mean, there's an argument, and I've said this a million times before, and some people don't like it, but there's an argument to say that you should never chase true narrative. It's impossible. With the game systems that we have, the rules that we have, and the armies that we have, true narrative, as per the law, is in fact impossible for Games Workshop to replicate, because you would put down 2,000 points of Space Marines, and I'd put down a single fucking Custodian Guard.
And you'd probably win.
And that's narrative.
But also, like, each person's true narrative is different, right?
Oh, 100%.
Because, like...
we're basing it on GW.
But it's like... So you could be like, oh, that's... Ultramarine army is not narrative because it's not filled with intercessors. But you go, well, actually, my army is based on Calgar's bodyguard. He's surrounded by himself with First Company veterans.
I mean, we were saying this the other day, and like the when we were talking about like the problem with narrative, is it comes down to the point where you push your narrative on the other person whether they want to hear it or not. And like not everyone should have to be conforming to the same.
Loves it. He loves listening about your narrative. Oh, by the way, we started some gifted. When you gift today memberships, because I'm sure you're all waiting to just drop some gifted, I want you to gift your memberships and tell me who it's for.
Oh, Jesus. Right, well, it's been nice knowing everybody.
Is it for Joe, is it for Toby, or is it for me?
I am. Basically, Liam's just trying to find an excuse to fire me to save some money.
Oh, no. If I needed to save the money, I wouldn't need an excuse.
Yeah.
The excuse is I need to save some money.
Yeah. But wouldn't you have to make me redundant then? And then you'd have to pay me more money.
No, not really. Because if you're making someone redundant based on, what's it called, financial difficulty, then you just get statutory redundancy pay.
No.
The government pays it, I don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say no.
I mean, it's like, for you, Joe, it's like a month's pay.
I wouldn't say no.
Surely like multiple months' pay is better than a month's pay.
Have I ever told
free.
Harborn of Audits Games how much I like him?
I don't know if he's going to say it. Some people will just come in and gift and won't know that they were doing a thing.
Yeah.
All right, well,
doing a bit.
I mean, I'm going to get in quick and be like, if you don't say, I'm going to presume it's for me.
And if you say who you're gifting it to, they're the one who has to give the wish.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, that's a wish off.
A wish off. But yeah, anyway, so here's the next stage of the question as well, right? So in that case, for 11th edition, would you like to see a change? Do you think stick with this symmetrical L-shaped ruins? Do you think actually we could do a slightly more terrain rules? Do you think asymmetrical competitive maps could or should be a viable option?
I think so. The problem is is that Games Workshop is losing a fighting battle because they can't make people happy. I think they've gone. We can't make everyone happy, so we'll just make the people that make us the most amount of money happy instead. And
do you think that? Do you? We've had this conversation loads of times, but do you genuinely still believe that competitive people make them the most amount of money?
I'd say so. Because
Toby, how many points of Heresy Admech have you got?
10k.
But we're talking about 40k here.
I mean, I've also got 10k points of Iron Hands, and no one likes Iron Hands. I'm beginning to question if I even like Iron Hands at this point.
Yeah. So you're collecting that one army, right?
Yep.
But you don't do tournaments, you don't do events, so you just buy stuff,
paint it, play it, have a good time.
Yeah,
That's what I'm here for.
But compare people that follow the 3 monthly
Updates.
balance updates, right?
Yep.
Would imagine that Games Workshop sees a spike in sales within the 2-week period of that coming out.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, because what happens is they go, "Oh, my army's not that that viable, so like I'll buy some next bits to make it more powerful." Or they'll go, "Okay, my army's not good anymore. I'll just buy a new army," because they want to chase that meta. They want to do great. They want to achieve it. Whereas people that play for fun and narrative, they'll see the balance come out and they'll be like, "Cool, I'll just not change my army."
Yeah.
So because narrative players and people that are in the hobby just to play the hobby aren't reactionary. They'll react to a new release of models and they'll be like, "I like that army, I'm going to buy that army."
Yeah.
But they won't make their decision on the flip of a coin.
Toby's voice is very loud. He's just a loud person.
Yeah.
I am a loud person. I've actually moved my microphone slowly further down my jumper.
Well,
so it's
the
not quite
sliders
so-
on the audio deck are all in the same place?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're all sat to the same value.
I'm just, I'm so fucking passionate about my iron hands.
We're all sat to the same volume.
I have a solution to this problem with the terrain rule side of things.
Is it
which
just a solution or is it the final one?
Well, I don't know. The final solution is probably get good, bro. If we go back to the whole sort of like, so, I would safe to say, like, Joe, you're probably out of the three of us, well, actually, and you, Liam, you're probably both a fair point on this one, is, would you say that the competitive terrain layout, if we ignore the fact that it might not always be presented in the nicest way, it works for its purpose, right?
Yeah, it does. Facts.
Cool. In which case, we don't need to touch that. So what we're looking at is going, okay, so for people who don't want to play that way, don't want to have a symmetrical table, how do we make that a more fair and fun experience? Very, very straightforward. Give us 6 core missions in the main rulebook for narrative play, which have a suggested layout of like size of pieces and where to put them, and then have an attacker and a defender, and you have like different types of missions with this, and then give the attacker and the defender specific stratagems or like rules or goals or objectives which play into that. So even if you've got like Tyranids defending a hive node, for example, so Tyranids can be a defender in certain situations, there are narrative choices and the objectives are achievable and it's more balanced in that sense.
I wonder if we're overcomplicating it though.
So what you've described there is Crusade.
Well, my point the other day was to bin Crusade to bring back like so take Crusade out of all the core rule book and the codex. I don't know if you saw, Joe, but what I was saying is that currently like the rule of 3 and things like that to me is open play, and from that competitive play has been taken out of that because people go, right, I can take what I want. The competitive layout has laid out for me what we have to do. We know what our objectives are. We know what secondaries we can draw. Call, fight. Someone wins a little trophy.
I think this goes back to, for me personally now, I think this goes back to, so what I try and do on the show is I try and play devil's advocate and bring up every aspect of the argument people talk about. I normally don't come to the show with a specific side, but I think this might come back to a point, it might come back to what you were talking about on Tuesday, Jay. Because what stops a couple of people wanting to have fun and roll some bones and enjoy themselves and tell a story, what stops them from setting up a table of asymmetrical narrative terrain and then house ruling shit? Making a bunch of rules to bring in that balance that perhaps that melee elf army needs to compete against that gunline Tau army. Like, what stops them from doing that?
Well, nothing.
Absolutely
a lack of
nothing.
imagination, probably.
I mean, but this is the point, right?
Yeah.
There is rules that say you can. There is no, and competitively, this is how you do it. There is no rule out there to say that narratively you can't just do what the fuck you want.
Yeah.
And so what we probably could and should have done on Tuesday with Brom's Ultramarines versus the Elves, although I didn't expect quite a hard spanking, what we could have done is we could have looked at this and gone, actually, we need to put a couple of little rules in place just to keep a bit of balance.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's difficult with house rules because I think often with house rules there is a risk that you can balance it too far the other way.
Yeah.
And it looks like you've given yourself an advantage by house ruling it. Content, you talked about SN earlier, they've done a lot of house ruling in the last edition of Heresy as well, and I get them house ruling it to bring some of the nut stuff down. What I also saw, poor old Steve used to get hammered for the amount of house rules he'd put in place because this isn't the game. And on stream, I'm very conscientious of the fact that if we're not playing the exact version of 40k that everybody thinks everybody else is playing, we do kind of get a bit of shit for it.
Yeah.
I mean, there is another solution which I've seen, which is quite common, which is, I could build a table for Joe and Paddy tonight, and it can be, not symmetrical, and it can have a little bit of complication to it. But then it's a very straightforward of going, okay, well, look, one of us might have a shooty army, one of us might not, blah, blah, blah. Everyone having the conversation beforehand and pointing and going, right, should we just say, because it's going to make it fairer, this piece of terrain is actually obscuring, even though you can see through it, that's obscuring. We're going to count this bit as cover. So if you're on top, no cover. But if you're actually to the side of it, that's going to count as cover because theoretically they'd be leaning around the corner and you build the narrative into it that way.
Yeah, I think either you or Jay said earlier, part of what you said, like what is the player coming for? What do they want out of it? Is also like Paddy's list tonight. He's coming for an early night.
He's coming for blood.
Yeah, it's going to be a quick one.
Paddy's coming for an early night, Jack. So
I've just stopped arguing with him now over stuff, and I just be like, yeah, I guess I'll just lose, I suppose. Fun's only important to one person at the table,
Yeah.
But I also think the other side is right. If you're playing someone for the first time down the club, right? And match play is the best way to play the game. If you've never played against that person before, never met them before, because
so I agree with you.
It's just a pre-established set of rules. One of you could turn up early, and you could mess around. What terrain layout do you want? What mission should we do? And then that person can just go, cool. That's the terrain layout for that. I'll set it all up, and we'll do that. It's a pre-established set of rules that is not unbending, but it's a universal rule that everyone's using, and we all know how it works. And it allows for the most balanced experience for those two people to play the game for the first time. And then once you're having a talk with that person, you go, now I know you better. Now I understand you, and I know what you like, what you don't like. Like, how about next week, we use a different style of thing?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because a lot of people say that as well. Like, a lot of people say that what you've just said, the tournament or match play is the most balanced experience. To a point, it is. There is still a world though where we play match play rules, we play balanced data slate, we play FAQs, and I bring 18 flawless blades, and you bring 3 riptides, and then you win the game.
Yeah.
So as balanced as it is, I don't think so. The game is probably as balanced as it's ever been.
But
if you're playing meta units within match play environment,
but I think at the same time, this goes back to one of you is playing an easy army, one of you is playing a hard army.
Right. But what I'm saying is, whilst you're playing meta units within match play confines, it's as balanced as it's ever been. This is where I think that. I think there's too much focus on match play all the time. Our conversations go down this route quite often as well. We focus on match play and competitive and what's happening in the competitive scene. And we forget about Billy, whose mates are coming over and they've laid out a battle mat on his parents' bed so they can just play Warhammer and enjoy themselves. And actually, he really fucking likes flawless blades. So he's got loads of flawless blades because that's his favourite thing. He hasn't got any winged demon princes because he doesn't have winged demon princes. But then I think, but my point is that then we get to a point where I'm only saying Emperor's Children because I wrote the list for you earlier. Well, not wrote your list for you, but made the graphic earlier, right?
Yeah.
So that's on my mind. And then I think this is where the game then is going to struggle, no matter what the Games Workshop do, and I mean this sincerely, they're going to struggle to get to a point where Billy in that situation is always going to have a fun, balanced experience. Yeah. Because we can either balance everything in Warhammer, at which point we end up with a lot less options, because that's the only way you can do it. Or we have the level of variety that we currently have, and if you're not playing in a tournament at match play and you want to take your fun toys, you either have to come to an agreement with your opponent about the types of lists you're going to run, the types of game you're going to play, and how you might house rule things, or you accept the fact, like Toby has with Iron Hands, that actually more often than not I'm probably going to lose. And you stop if you're a narrative person, right, who says I don't care about balance. Well, then you need to not care about balance.
Yeah, I think if you go to if you take an absolute to use Toby's an absolute bin list, right? You take a list that is pure trash, and you go to a tournament, and and every one of your opponents just climbs inside you, right? I don't think you can be in a position to complain.
I agree,
100%.
So, like, and we say like most of our conversations tend towards the more competitive talk.
We do.
Is the fact that apart from the channel, when do you play?
I don't.
You don't. But everyone else on the channel that plays outside of the channel plays at tournaments because there's no narrative events to go to.
I'm lying slightly. I play at Beachhead, but otherwise, I don't.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, and then there was that one year.
That
I went
guy
to
said
Hellstorm.
that you only go to one a year, so
Yeah.
so you can't really complain.
I fucking don't care. I enjoy it my way.
He calls you.
I only go to one tournament a year. I probably play more Warhammer than most people.
Yeah, but like, I think if there was more narrative events, then like, I think
Hey, Soups.
one of the biggest shames is the fact that there is no UKSN, right? There is no UK no retreat, right?
Currently.
But most of the biggest changes in Warhammer happen because of community.
All of the big changes. All of the big changes,
Yeah.
Joe, let's be honest.
Are driven by community stuff. Games Workshop go, there's a big community here, there's a big push on it, let's monetize it. You know, it's very that other way.
I think they're quite risk averse.
Yeah.
If go on.
I was going to say that.
I was waiting. You the grin started, and I was like, "Where's he going with this?"
Yeah, it's very you know. But like the idea is that like if Games Workshop see that there is a UK American Gibraltar, you know, is that the right word? Gibraltarian.
Gibraltars.
Yeah.
Gibraltars,
The Maltese.
Dagos. Yep.
Maltesers.
Yeah. The if they see that there is a huge push in large narrative events that are changing rules for their events and people are adopting that in a wider format, a la
He's not doing it.
he's still here, he's still doing a job.
Alan.
Frontline Gaming, who created their own tournament pack, which everyone adopted as the standard.
Which was the old ITC format.
yeah, which was, I'd say, a real golden period in competitive tournament.
Peak. But then what you did is you had a game state like Maelstrom, which everybody accepted could massively skew the result in one person's favour.
Yeah.
So at that point, you can take a bin list against a good list, and then the cards can screw the good list, and then you actually might have a chance of winning.
I loved
or
Maelstrom
the
before.
cards can screw the bin list, and you lose anyway.
Yeah.
I think Maelstrom being a main way of people who weren't playing competitively playing, whilst at the same time frontline controlling the ITC scene, was absolute peak.
Yeah,
I personally think that was absolute peak. And that's not even about the core rules at this point. That's not even about blast templates and fucking weapon skills.
So
that's just about the fact that there was a competitive pack that took the main rules and went, we're going to get rid of that, we're going to add in this, we're going to add in this. That's how that works. And then there was another fun pack in Maelstrom where you were like, what fucking cards am I going to draw?
Yeah.
Fuck, I need to go get objective sixes inside the table.
So, for instance, if we started doing narrative events here monthly, and we played it so much, we did so many events that we then established our own narrative terrain format, right? That other people could then take on and run at their events. Games Workshop would then eventually start to take notice, right?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, how are they making this work? How is this becoming popular? What are they doing that people are enjoying so much?
One of your new best friends, Get Good, man with a berserker helmet,
Yeah.
he says, some lad said, let's play narrative terrain without templates, and it was a shooting gallery with no cover against knights. So I put my entire army in aircraft and pods and turn one charge. He said it's cinematic, and he got mad. There is a lot of people, unfortunately, in the world that play this game that hide behind their narrative as an excuse to be a dickhead. And I've played some people that are like, I'm such a narrative player, and then you look at their armies and stuff, and look at the way they play the game, and you're like, you just
There'll be
care
people
about
like,
winning.
let's have a narrative game. I'll stand in a line of buildings and you run at me across open ground.
Yeah.
You know, and that'd be a great narrative game. When actually that one person's rolling attacks and the other person's just picking up their models.
Yeah, that guy sounds like a
So,
fucking
like,
douchebag, man.
But like narrative ultimately needs to be a conversation. as well.
Yeah, but this is the point. So he's had the conversation and proceeded to try and have the conversation in a manner in which it gives him an advantage.
Yeah.
That's not having a narrative conversation, though, is it?
Yeah. So I've said it before, and I've offended a lot of people. Is that a lot of people do lack imagination, and some people just are out for themselves, right? And we live in a world and a community where people quite often aren't willing to stand up for themselves either.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes, there's people I know that are pretty, relatively normal, rounded adults.
Yeah.
People that have, even in things like careers, been pretty good at confrontation.
Yeah.
And they'll come up against El douchebag at a tournament.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the game, they'll go, I had this fucking awful experience, blah, 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 blah. You're like, cool, did you call it over? Nah.
Nah.
Why not?
Yeah.
It's literally what they're there for. So you can go, I don't want to have this row with you. We don't agree. Here comes a TO. TO, can you tell him to stop being a fucking dickhead?
Yeah.
Because that's what I think more people should do, Because if we're going to run fun narrative events here and we're going to have enjoyable events downstairs, if someone turns up and goes, I'm coming to this fun narrative event, and is playing like an absolute fucking edgelord, trying to get every little minimal advantage you can add, because all he actually really cares about is winning the event, I want you to come and get me or Toby, or whatever, and say, this guy's literally behaving like an arsehole.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, stop fucking behaving like an arsehole.
Yeah.
Or you'll be sent home.
Yeah.
Quite simply.
And I think if Games Workshop
I'll need evidence they're behaving like an arsehole, by the way. You can't
if
just
Games
like,
Workshop
being an
release
arsehole.
their own kind of balanced narrative rules system that didn't I like the concept of Crusade, but it is very, very admin heavy, and that's kind of why I've never really got into it. I'd learn it for something like the Grand Narrative, but it's not something I would do on the regular. But I think if Games Workshop did something like Crusade Light, that you could just kind of do and have fun that way, I think it'd be great. So I think if we did in fact do a thing,
What's the thing, Joe?
do our own narrative, our own narrative rule set with a narrative terrain pack that people do like and do take on. So Mini Wargaming did it all the time with their they did a Death Watch narrative series, and they released the rules for it and people went and played it. I think if we established a South Coast narrative league, I think people would take it on, and then maybe someone in America picks it up, maybe someone in Australia picks it up, and then Games Workshop go, okay, these guys have created a thing. How do we integrate that with what we're doing?
Yes, maybe.
And then I think
it becomes, instead of house running, it becomes events pack type stuff. Right?
Yeah,
And,
and I think we need to figure out as a channel how to make terrain work that we can teach. Because people always say, "Oh, Joe, can you do us a how-to on how to set up a table?"
We've over the last 2 weeks, we've wildly changed the way we're putting our boards out, just as an experiment. And for the most part, actually, the response we've had about the way they look has been overwhelmingly positive, which is great. Cool. Okay, here's a thing we've changed that has been positively received, and we should probably keep doing it because it's been positively received, right? Cool. However, we then need to figure out how we can keep doing that whilst maintaining a semblance of balance in the game so that the game remains entertaining. It's all well and good that the camera comes up and it looks fucking great, and then we go, cool, after 2 turns you just know that one person's climbing inside the other one. Because then it's like, well, the game's over now. And we watched it Tuesday, the drop-off of viewers was quite extreme.
Yeah.
Because it was don't get me wrong, my turn to I bounced hard, Brom's turn to he did really well, and people then went, this game's done.
Yeah.
And that's the bit we need to stop. If we could solve that problem, if we could solve the turn 2 games done when you've got a narrative, like a shooty army versus a melee army in an open kind of board scenario, then I think we're good and then we're golden. That's a difficult one to challenge. What I don't want to do is solve that problem with 18 different house rules so that a new person comes to the channel, a grey name who's never watched before, and we're playing this rule and they go, the fuck is that rule?
Yeah.
That's not the rule. Because then we're going to lose them.
So
then someone who watches us will go, oh, it's one of their house rules. They'll be like,
it's like, even if it's something simple like every table quarter has to have a big L or a big U in it, that they can.
I mean, I also think
hide
that,
it.
you know, in the privileged position that the channel is like, you know, there is obviously a discussion of who is playing who, and then you kind of go, okay, well, Joe and Paddy are on a similar skill base until Paddy's pulling your pants down. So that you know that, so you know that you've got two people who've got a certain level of skill. Because if I play Paddy, we can have all the training in the world. I'm still probably losing turn 2 because I'm not as good as Paddy at the game, anywhere near it, right? So you go, okay, well, who's playing who? And then what armies are they bringing? Because if someone's bringing a really shooty army and someone's bringing a really combat-focused heavy army, then the table will have to try to help balance that.
Yeah.
So like you go, okay, well, we know, for example, that the melee army is going to deploy this side. So if we're trying to build a narrative table, as these armies deploy on the battlefield for this engagement, the army that are melee focused are probably going to be behind some cover.
I've tried doing
that.
it in the past, and everyone complains that I've tried to I've tried to stack the game, and I'm like, no, I'm just trying to.
I think actually what happens is chat likes to just wind you up.
I don't think it's not just the chat. Or the other thing that happens, right? And he did it within 5 minutes of walking this room. He's been away for fucking 6 months.
He did. I know what you're going to say. He did.
I haven't seen him in ages. I love him lots, but I nearly lamped him. Right? He walks in. First thing he did was start moving terrain around.
No, it's after you've been in for half an hour.
It wasn't even.
Well, we tried to deep strike that platform we put down.
He just started moving terrain. Why is this here?
Yeah, he's like,
It's in my way. I'm moving.
I can't put you there. Move the terrain. I'm like, that's not how it works.
Eddie is bad for it as well.
Yeah.
Like I remember, I put a massive. You know the big Game Mat EU massive generator piece?
Yeah.
I often use that as a balancing function.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just like, I'm against a shooting army, bam, right in the middle of the table. And then what happens is someone's like, Eddie's like, well, I can't shoot now. So he'll just go like, I'll just turn it 90 degrees. And now I've got two massive shooting lanes.
What do you mean I can't shoot your whole army in turn 1? That's not fair.
But that's also not entertaining.
Correct. But some people come on the show, Toby, and they forget about entertaining and they care just about winning. And they think that them winning is entertaining.
So, I mean, obviously, it's not something that you are always, especially up until this point. Now, obviously, I'm around sometimes, but I'm not here to help the channel. I'm happy to help the channel, but I'm here to help with Hobby House. But you also run into the point of, if, for example, it's Paddy versus Tom, and Joe's impartial and sets up the table, knowing what the two armies are, and goes, look, this is the table, this is the layout. It's as fair as we can make it, given your skill set is fairly similar. You're both bringing what you both consider to be a fairly heavily competitive list. I've tried to give you a table that, whilst is fair, has also got some flavour to it because the viewers find that entertaining. Don't fucking move anything.
Correct. The other way that you sort of solve the problem as well, though, is you roll off for deployment zones. So it doesn't matter who sets the table up, because if you've got to roll off to see where you deploy, you might not get the end you fucking want.
Well, I mean, do you know what I miss? I miss alternative deployment. And I miss night fighting.
What do you mean? It is alternative deployment. What do you mean?
Well, so whoever deploys first, you picks the deployment, because obviously you guys, it's whoever's that side plays that, right? So if you pick deployment zone,
channel.
other person plays first, right? And then again, the things like night fighting, where you'd already deployed and then you had to roll for that, because that used to be able to completely change everything.
Seize initiative.
Yes. Oh, seize the initiative. The good old days.
I love seize initiative.
But like maybe we just go a roll for sides, and the host doesn't always have to be stood on the right. I know that really upsets me.
I can't not be on this side.
He's triggered now.
Sends the tism, but
It will send
but-
the
maybe that's what's needed.
No.
But what's to say that you can't stand that side even if you've deployed in this corner?
The thing is, where I stand isn't an issue because we can.
clearly it is.
Well, no. So I played Brom on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Who set up the terrain?
Well, me and Toby.
So an impartial person set the terrain up.
Yeah.
The issue normally falls when a person sets up the terrain who's also playing on the board and goes, "Oh, I'm this side." Like,
Yeah.
hang on a minute. Do you know what I mean? So right. We've got a lot of comments from chat we're going to get through as well because I've got.
But sometimes knowing what side a person's going to be on dictates where I put the terrain as well.
Yeah, but you do that to balance the game, though, not to fuck someone over. That's a difference.
Yeah, I'm like, this person has more terrain because they're
exactly.
a combat
So,
army, right?
There we go. So
But they don't like that. Joe
is right, Liam. Can you crawl out of his fucking arse for 5 minutes? Let's jump into chat. There's a load of comments from people.
I don't do preferential
Starting from Lehman, who what he said was, and then
You don't like it when people say nice things about me and not
who
about
was
you.
who was that new guy that came on the camera? And is it me or has Joe lost a lot of weight? And the new haircut ? Which was actually before he went to America 3 weeks ago. Joe looks amazing. Keep up the amazing work, team.
Liam gets jealous when he's not the centre of the attention.
That's not true,
And
is it?
that's what happens. But he's the only one that said anything nice about me. You never say anything nice about me.
Well, it's got worse since you've come back.
What?
We don't even hit Liam and Joe show membership goals anymore.
Yeah, but I think that's you.
Well, that doesn't make sense because then when I do it on my own, like last night, I hit goals.
Yeah, but that's what I said to
All
you.
of them.
So I said to you the other day that your sit-at-home begging streams do better
Right.
than when we're in here. So I said to you, we should just stop the game streams and the Liam and Joe shows, and you just do sit and talk.
Well, then you're out of a job.
Just go work somewhere else.
This is awkward.
Unfortunately, I am quite practical, and I'm like,
Yeah.
if I need to work somewhere else, I need to work somewhere else.
You're quite happy dipping bins, weren't you?
There's a big
Anyway.
skip downstairs, look, Joe, and I'm going to be looking for some labour.
Josh actually knows that we love him anyway, and I'm just trying to make him smile because he had a shit couple of weeks, to be fair.
Yeah, I have.
You have? How?
Yeah, I do.
How have you had a shit couple
Oh,
of weeks?
America was horrible, Liam.
The amount of times I message Liam and just get zero response.
My favourite thing over the course of the last year is Tom being hit all the time, and now Toby being hit all the time, and then them both going, Joe's whinges are just bollocks. Yeah.
No.
It's nice having two people
I've never
here that-
heard them say that.
Have you not? They
No.
said it out loud
I mean,
in front of you.
Joe, like you do live well. Like from like, I mean, if I got to play Warhams and build Warhams all day for monies, I'd probably be quite a happy man.
The job's all right.
Yeah.
Like, it could be better.
What would make your job better, Joe?
Vastly more money. Like,
But could that not be said for any job?
oh yeah, 100%.
So if someone was to go and give you double the money, but you have to go get bummed by bigger boys, would you take it?
Yeah.
I think if you told
That's-
people what you
I
did for a
respect
living and what you got paid, a lot of them out there would probably want to fucking punch you for complaining about a lack of money.
But I don't tell people what I do.
No, but my point is, when you say what would make my life better is vastly more money.
Yeah, but I was just answering the question seriously. Like, that's like, but everyone would say that. What would make your life better, Liam? Vastly more money?
Probably less Joe.
If I gave you more money, would your life be
That would
better?
also give you more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but literally anyone would say that.
Kazari, thank you for the $2. Narrative terrain doesn't ruin 40k. Tau ruin 40k.
Yeah.
Is it Tau that ruins 40k or is it Tau players?
Do you remember back in this is going to go on a tangent if I'm not careful. Do you remember back in the day when you could have like a combined arms of Tau and Eldar together?
Yeah.
That was horrible to play
You could have
against.
combined arms of lots of stuff.
Yeah.
You could have, one of my lists I took to a tournament once back in 7th edition had an Eldar Windrider host core with 2 Imperial Knights allied in. It was perfectly legal.
It was a wild time back then.
It was a Wild West. See, this is the one thing is, as a core rule set, I personally preferred 7th. I'm not saying it was better, it's my preference, right? And it's a lot more like a 3rd edition heresy. But at the end of 7th was the fucking Wild West.
But you could also argue a narrative in that, right? Because Eldar, like, the Eldar have shown up to help the Knights because the Knights need to win the battle for reasons.
There's an argument, but there is an argument to say that you could argue a narrative about literally anything.
Games Workshop wrote Necron's Blood Angels, so
That's a really good like set of like narrative though. The whole like what's we call it?
The Belisarius call not Orican the Diviner. Trajan is a really good narrative as well. So you could argue these crazy matchups.
You absolutely can. One of the beauties about the sandbox we're allowed to play in, is, and this is the thing that this is for the other stream topic that I'm saving now. We didn't do it today, but what annoys me is when you go, here's my narrative. There are clear cases where people are just shoehorning a narrative to allow them to be a gamey dickhead.
Yeah.
There's also occasions where like, this is my narrative because I want this to be my narrative, and someone goes, that's not narrative. To you, it's not. But I've made my narrative. And the thing is with Games Workshop and with 40k specifically, in fact, not just 40k, but Warhammer products in general, is they give you a sandbox, allow you to create. So when you create something in that sandbox, you can't listen to other people and let them tell you that it is or isn't narrative. You can't let people tell you that that's not how that army should function. That's not how that unit should work. Like Brom even got a couple of comments on Tuesday's stream. Can't believe you're taking the Calgar detachment, not taking Calgar. How about just let the man take his fucking
Yeah, but
toys?
that's also like a symptom of.
That's a symptom of everyone must be 100% optimized all the time.
Yeah, that's what I call like the Call of Duty meta lister.
Right,
kind of
yeah,
thing, right? It's
absolutely.
Like people will be like, why are you using that gun? It's not good. It's like, yeah, but I want to try something different today.
Yes, I want to just play with my toys because I like my toys.
Brom's a poor example, right? But at the same day, like we play a lot of Warhammer. Like out of the three of us here, I probably play the most, right?
Out of the three of us,
Yeah,
100%.
Right, Tom
probably plays more than you.
Tom plays the most because he's
Paddy's probably on par with you, maybe a little bit more.
I think he gets he obviously he does less streams, but he does more events.
So he's
than
probably
I
on
am.
par-ish.
So on par-ish, right? So like those Tom and Paddy are more than happy to just run the same army all the time.
Because it's optimized.
The most optimized version.
They learn it and dial it in.
They learn it and dial it in.
But that's playing Warhammer their way. The problem is when you're not playing, you're in a position where you have to play against that all the time. So it dictates how you're playing your Warhammer.
I get bored real quick, right? So like, I think Tom or Paddy called me big-headed, and I was like, oh, I won a tournament running demons. And they're like, you can take demons next time. I was like, no, I've done that now. On to the next thing. Kind of thing. Like, I did 7 events this year. Apart from Tyranids, which I did twice, I did a different army every time, right? And on the channel, I'll play 12 times in a month, if not more. And because I do most of the armies on rotation, I'll play one once, and I won't get to that again until I've played 12.
Well, also, I suppose the other problem is that, for example, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm someone who has been a fan of the channel before I knew you guys, before I worked here, right? But like, how often do you get to play against Tyranids?
Not never. Yeah.
Right, because people are playing the armies they know. So I'll play you against Tyranids.
Yeah.
I might not be very good, but that means you can then enjoy the other aspect of the hobby you like, because you go, well, I never actually get to play against that army unless I'm at a tournament, which means it's the most optimized version of that. So I don't get to play a, in quotation marks, you can't see me chat, but it's happening, quotation marks, narrative, because you can't go and shoot a load of bugs for fun.
Yeah, and like a lot of the time, also like, if for instance, like a new codex comes out, so we've got to play that army like 4 to 6 times in a month.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to run the same army list every single game. Unless we've literally only got those as a selection. So we've been in situations like when the Templars, where like I'd got to like 1,200 points like for when the Codex came out. So I had a very shallow pool to draw from. But like Tyranids, for instance, I've got lots of Tyranids. So I'll try and run something different every single time. And people are like, why aren't you doing that? It's like, because I want variety. I want change.
The fuck's happened here?
What?
The Games Workshop stock price has just shot up.
Yeah,
The share value is now over £200 a share.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that
Jesus,
then?
I
What have
don't
they
know.
announced recently?
well, they found out that Hobby House was going to be a stockist. So
There was,
It does mean I've just doubled my money.
it is
quite good.
but obviously they just released the Christmas boxes, right? They've just done
They must have announced that.
that Dark Angels helmet yesterday.
yeah. And
That did
there's
it.
normally, I mean, I don't think it's happened yet, but normally in December you do get the Amazon 40k, update of where they're at doing their whatsmajigger.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. When do they release their accounts? Because normally share price is directly correlated to profit made.
Yeah, so like
So Nick said, narrative terrain doesn't ruin 40k, Tau ruin 40k. Lehman Russ then says, Toby, Iron Hands ruining narrative tables.
Well, my Primark's dead, but where's yours?
I
At
mean
least I know where my Primark is.
I mean, Lehman Russ is a fucking Wild Eaters player, mate. So his Primark's on the fucking table in 40k.
And
Yeah, but he's not very good.
and they only know how to play one way as well, Welders players.
Hang on a minute, why is he not called Angron then?
So profit announcement, they broke the 6 billion total worth level. Pre-tax profits up 12% on last year from 127 million to 135 million pre-tax profit. There you go, that's what it is then. So my mate who works for GW just said, check the share price. So I had a look, I was like, the fuck's that spike come from?
But I mean, it might be that, Liam, but you did sign that contract.
I also, I did sign my retailer contract yesterday, so it might be that.
I mean, I think we should say it's that.
Tell the world it is that.
Yeah. We're also, currently, we're shockingly only on 25 of the finest members, and we are 20 minutes towards what should be the end of the stream. And there are plenty of grey names in chat as well. If you're feeling generous and you want to support me, Toby, Joe here, chuck us some members, get other people involved, get them in the Discord server, and etc., and support us in general on the channel. That'd be amazing. Pridders says, for the $10, agreed, it's the terrain rules that's the issue. Planet Bowling Ball, shooty armies just bum you. Planet Cities of Death melee armies chop you up. It has to be in the middle for it to feel fair enough. Do you think that I think we've seen this a little bit with some of the UKTC type layouts and stuff where the terrain layouts have been released, and I've seen you guys in the group chat going, well, that's a problem because melee armies just win now.
Yeah. But then,
do you think it's actually quite difficult to find the balance between the two, though? Is it when you have armies such as like World Eaters or Melee Templars or Blood Angels or whatever, and then you have the flip side where you've got things like Tau and other heavy shooting gun armies. Eldar could be that, for example. Guard. Do you think that then to find that sweet spot right in the middle, bang, for both of those to have as much fun? So if you end up with a World Eaters versus a Tau, it's a balanced game. Do you think that's actually really quite difficult?
I think it's not difficult. We just need to change the format. Because in large team events, you have a attacker-defender system. So one team puts down a defender, and then the attacking team puts down 2 attackers, and the defending team picks one, and blah, blah, blah. But when you do that, you then pick what style board you're going to have, right? And they normally have light, medium, heavy. So heavy being quite dense, medium being average. So then, what you do at events is you have those set light, heavy, dense terrain boards just duplicated along in a line on every table. So you don't know what style of board you're going to get. The boards will be balanced, but then you have to write army lists that are capable of fighting on any one of those tables, right? So if you're a World Eaters player, you're going to have to bring rhinos.
Yeah.
You might have to bring land raiders. If you're a guard player, you're like, well, I'm going to bring lots of tanks, but then if I'm on the heavy table, I'm going to need screening units to get in the way.
Yeah, I'm going to need Kassakin to hold these firefight points and things like that.
So it forces balance, because the problem is when everyone plays on the exact same terrain layouts and just exact same styles of terrain, like the UKTC just added 2 extra pieces of terrain, and you have a preset terrain layouts for a tournament that you know in advance, you just go, I'll just make an army list to fit those terrain layouts.
Yeah.
And that's where you get a set meta that everyone plays to, right? And then armies do become wildly powerful or wildly weak because that's this season's terrain layout. And no one prepared for balance. And then it means that people get conditioned to only fight one way.
Yeah.
They're so we'll take Paddy an example. I'm not going to shit on Paddy, but
you would a little bit.
Paddy has
proceeds to sit on the toilet.
His custodes army, right?
Yep.
For tournaments,
Yep.
right? If he went to a tournament and they were like, it's fucking wild, it's the fucking Wild West now, terrain's all over the place. He's like, how the fuck do I deal with this? My army is not designed for this. And I think if we did go to a more random terrain system, it forces more balanced play, which then you might find Games Workshop when they do the 3 monthly balanced data slates, that armies that weren't viable now become viable again. And it also means people learn to play in different ways and don't come so transfixed on one specific thing.
I quite like that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's a good concept, I think.
Yeah.
I like it. I think the problem is I think that to some extent tournament play has therefore shaped the whole of 40k now, which is a shame for those people that aren't interested in tournaments.
But I think the reason why tournament play is so popular, and I've talked about it loads, is that it is a fixed, balanced format in a fixed rules format that Games Workshop has created that anyone can come and play. Mm-hmm. When you are a new player and you've been given this fixed booklet of rules, and you go, cool, I understand how this plays now, and then you go to your local club and you play some 40-year-old neckbeard like old guard who's like, I don't believe in squares. I only have hills and containers. It's a rectangle, but it is curved. Right? We're fighting in the transport district. All the buildings are gone. We just have a fun narrative game. And this person's like, the fuck is this? I've learnt the fixed rules that you've given me, and now Bilbo Baggins here is just blown all that away.
Yeah.
So I think
it.
for the masses, tournament style, the field manual, and the rules that we've got now is the best we're going to get. And I know people hate it, but if you want new people to come and play it, telling people to use their imagination on something they're learning is very hard
exactly.
to do.
And if they come out, and the amount of time I've heard so many stories about people that came up against dildo swaggins at their local Games Workshop. And proceeded to, I'd love to play a game, I'll teach you. And then he proceeds to pull their pants down in 2 turns and literally insert the whole of his army inside of them and go, I've crushed you, I've won. And you're like, cool, I've had a great experience here.
So get good. I was watching, obviously I was going to talk to, so at the Warhammer Championship, well, the World Jobbies, right? Loads of the UK players were like, I use UKTC terrain. So when they went and played on GW terrain layouts, they were like, so like there was a couple missions that no one plays on because they're all bad.
But Games Workshop obviously
used them, and like I know some of the Art of War guys were like, if I knew this mission was in play, I wouldn't have come.
Or my list was different.
No, I think one of them said he just wouldn't have come.
Oh, really?
Because like if I knew this terrain, if I knew this in advance and they weren't going to change it, I just wouldn't come.
Is it that bad?
That's a bit of a...
I mean, it is a terrible terrain layout.
I love the Art of War guys, but that's a fucking
one of
bad
the terrain
take.
layouts, right, was that wildly open. All the objectives had terrain on them, but the open side was facing your opponent.
Right.
So you couldn't hide in any terrain, and then in your deployment zone, you had like one little wall and like no other terrain.
Right.
So like people were like, whoever goes first wins, because they'll just blow the other person away, unless they got lucky and paired into like an all combat no guns army. Yeah, it was.
That's interesting. I think it's a hot take though. If you're like, I categorically quite like the Art of War guys. I've never met them. I've spoke to a couple of them, and their content's all right. But if you're saying, hey, this is how we teach you how to play competitive 40k, if this is the mission, just don't play it.
I think
that's not a great...
But what they did point out, though, was that when a TO puts out a mission pack and the terrain layouts are just bad, what normally happens is the community goes to them and goes like, this is like an unplayable mission.
Yeah, like you say, it's driven by the community, right?
You need to change this.
John, because you won't have known, because you probably just dropped in, you need to say who the members are for. That's who gives you a hope. I think he's just got us up to like 60, maybe 50, maybe 55. I think 55. It's a struggle. You've got some work to do tonight, Joe.
Yeah?
Yeah. You have to get your milkers out and all sorts for them.
No.
Nipple tassels, that'll get you 150 memberships.
No.
What? The pickle outfit.
Why don't you just tell Paddy to dress up? Why is it always me that has to dress up?
Joe, when you weren't here, excuse me.
Oh.
I offered to dress up as a servo turret.
He did.
And I was going to make it Blue Peter style out of like kitchen roll tubes and tin foil and a shoebox and stuff. They still didn't gift enough.
Really?
No.
Oh.
They didn't want to see Servo Turret Toby.
Servo Tobert.
Yeah.
I mean, we've still got the cardboard currently, so the offer might still be on the cards.
We've got all the
Yeah, but you don't want to
cardboard
just do it because then they realise that you'll do it even without paying.
Oh no, there has to be. I mean, is a
What you got to do is
significant
tell
amount
them
of
that
effort.
Well,
you'll do it,
sometimes
they'll pay for it, and then you don't do it for 6 months.
Yeah, but then they stop gifting when you're on stream because they think you're a fibber.
They boycott you. They
I did it
joke
eventually.
Wow.
And then they got the pickle afterwards. So
Well, let's be fair. The pickle was because I was like, I'm not allowing you to organise it again.
but that I learned that from Paddy. Do a shit job the first time, and then someone else just takes over afterwards.
I mean, he is an officer. That is
Yeah.
how that works.
After his cup of tea making, never again.
Is John just dropped another 20?
He did.
Did
I love
he?
it. I mean, John's always been one of my favourites.
What a fucking hero. What a fucking hero. I'm
Chat
75
saying
now.
that Toby ain't got the minerals.
Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Someone said I sound too eager to dress up as a servo turret. Look, don't kink shame me, all right?
Yeah.
We're on 76 now, chat.
When he gets home, straight out of his normal clothes into
Yeah,
the
into the servo turret. But you guys don't know it's already made. It's been made
Yeah.
for about 3-4 years. I've just been sat in it since it
Yeah.
came out.
Not a kink thing, right? I went swimming yesterday.
As a servo turret?
No, I forgot.
Your
I
pants,
went there.
your
I
trunks.
forgot my pants. I went there in my trunks. I put my trunks on, then
Yeah.
put my tracky bottoms over the top. Windy yesterday. That was
An experience?
Cooling.
I've never put a huge amount of consideration into the importance of pants. Or underwear.
Could you have been used as a wrecking ball for action men?
Yeah, I was like, I was like just like a Ken doll.
John, thank you so much, man.
It was just like everything was just inside me.
Retracting.
It was awful. And I said to
You docked
I said
yourself.
to my partner in the car, I was like, I've never been more excited to get home and put pants on.
Yeah?
I've never considered the importance of pants before, but I'm like, wow, they serve a purpose.
Pants do serve a purpose, and you have to get that nice little like talcum powder around your balls before you put the pants on. Honestly, Joe, trust me, life changing.
Yeah, but like, does it not get all claggy?
You don't put it on when it's fully. You dry a bit first, and then you talc inside of your thighs. Oh, they glide. Then it's lovely.
I don't think I've even seen talcum powder for about 25 years.
The only people I know that use talcum powder are babies and pensioners.
How many babies and pensioners do you know, Joe?
Too many.
That's why he's on both
Surrounded by
That's
them.
why he's on both lists.
Just battering them away.
Luce uses it loads, and I was like, give it a go. Game changer now every night, Joe. Every night. Honestly, they glide. It's just they go whoop whoop. Oh, it's lovely. None of that chafage nonsense anymore. All gone.
Okay.
Did anyone think when this conversation started like an hour and a bit ago that we'd get onto talcum powder?
Talcum powder in your balls. Honestly,
That's what you come for, chat. That's why you're here, right?
life advice. Trust me.
But I need to think of a cool outfit to wear though. I'm going to Comic-Con in London.
Are you?
London next year.
I'd love to know what that's like. I've never been.
I've been to London Comic-Con before, but I was like, maybe I might make the effort to dress up this time.
I mean, I've got
Pickle Joe!
I've got a servo turret outfit in the works. You can.
It's got to be train worthy. You know?
Well, yeah.
That pickle works.
Yeah.
You go pickle
I was
Rick's to
thinking
Comic-Con.
about Marvel Endgame Thor because that's when they designed that costume, there was a cosplayer community that they were targeting.
If you don't go as Brian Blessed as fucking Flash Gordon, mate, that is a missed opportunity.
Nah, because it's like in March.
Do you know what? I might even be able to help with that because my father-in-law worked on Flash Gordon with costume and set design.
Really?
So there could be we could maybe go for all
Because he's
in.
got the fucking top off right straight away.
Gordon's alive.
That would be peak, Joe.
Not in March because England.
Oh, is it March?
England in
Oh.
March is like that's when we're starting to get snow, isn't it?
Oh, we get it now.
March, April is like the snow time thing.
Yeah, it has been lately, yeah.
I might just go. I was thinking like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Just dress up as a Viking.
There's some cool shit out
and then
there
I
as
get
well.
some cool furs. And
There's
I can
some,
be
you can get there's
comfortable
like
and
some
warm.
cool like Ezio costumes and whatever too. To be fair, I've got.
I
to
could be
fair,
fat Ezio.
I've got a proper deer fur and a proper Viking tunic at home that you could borrow if you wanted to.
I just I feel like the Viking clothes. So just they were just built for comfort.
They are just comfort.
I'm just watching.
You are welcome to borrow my Viking stuff.
Yeah, I'm watching Vikings at the moment. I know I'm getting to the top, near soon. It'll be the time when I just stop watching it.
When he dies.
Yeah.
I've heard
But
that's
Lagertha stays
where
all
you
the way.
turn it
though.
off.
Does Lagertha?
Lagertha does stay all the way through, yeah. Lager 3 is all the way through.
We just started watching C. I don't know if you've seen it on Apple TV with Jason Momoa.
I don't have Apple
No.
TV.
Oh, it's really good.
No, she stays all the way through. The last 3 seasons, she's in all of them. She's in some of them a bit less.
Yeah.
But
Then what's the point?
they're just the Sons take over the narrative, and they're just not quite as good. It's not bad. It's just not as good as when Ragnar's alive. So. Thank you, Brandon Lagase, for the $10. He says, tournament terrain bugs the shit out of me because the layouts don't make any sense. Random buildings at weird angles in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only batshit crazy civil planners.
I love that comment. Oh, I'm basking in it. Delicious.
It is like there are. So I have seen competitive terrain layouts that look all right, and I have seen competitive terrain layouts where I go, why is that thing there? It doesn't make any sense.
So we've talked about, obviously I've talked to Toby about like tournaments here. I think the best tournament terrain layout is the one that the UK is not using, which is the Games Workshop terrain layout.
Okay.
Because it's all based around a tile system, right? And then you put walls on it. So what you can do is the Games Workshop gives you a set layout which is tiles in places.
Yep.
And then instead of just putting the little L's on that you normally do, you then use those tiles with like whatever terrain you can find, and then you can match that terrain to that board and actually make it more narrative. So like because the tile is just a piece that if you're on it, you count as being in cover, and if you're behind it, it's obscuring, so you can't be seen. So it doesn't matter what you put on that tile. So if the terrain is like a weird, all the stuff's in weird places, you go, cool, those are hills, or we're going to use the AdMech terrain, so it's like a weird catwalk-based system kind of thing. So like you make the GW terrain like layout fit your narrative, and I think that it can be done.
I thought our TVs had turned up at home then, Toby. It's not.
So when people come to events here, they are playing on a preset terrain layout approved by Games Workshop, but it is still themed and narrative.
So I want to. I think that there's going to be when you book a table. What I want to be able to do is have a couple of options. So what I've said in the past is that when you book a table, we'll set the terrain up for you, right? So when you turn up, you get your army out, you play a game, you order your coffee, you play a game, right? And what I'd love to get to a point of being able to do is to go, right, you've picked 40k as your game system, and you've picked narrative, and then Toby can go fucking wild and make a table. Or you've picked competitive, right? And when you picked competitive, you know what? You're going to have those tiles and you're going to have that layout, but it is also still going to look fucking cool.
Yeah.
And it's going to be themed and it's going to fit and there's going to be barrels and crates and. Because I think that's. And then you go and you turn up going, we've got. It is a competitive layout, but it looks a lot fucking cooler.
Yeah.
That's where I want to be. That's what I'd like to get
And
to.
it's not wood coloured.
Yeah. It's not very clearly smooth, shiny MDF.
So like when you go to AOS events at Warhammer World, you obviously Age of Sigmar has a preset terrain system, which is you can have 2 trees, 2 large ruins, 2 small ruins, like places of power, right? But at the Warhammer World events, is that they are not identical across the tables, right? Like it might say that it's a hill, but actually it's a large kind of like pyramid, or it's a massive set of floating trees that you can't actually even fucking get onto, right? They're almost like every single terrain set matches the table, and they're all themed to different armies, and they're like the terrain's there and it does what it says there, but it looks way better. You know, you've got like some floating islands or some massive.
And you know what? Like, because I play a lot of Age of Sigmar, and Age of Sigmar, 9.9 times out of 10 has a lot less terrain on the table, but the game still plays quite nicely when you do have a slightly more dense table. It's a good fun.
Yeah,
I think there is a level though where you go too dense.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm not talking like you've got no room to move anything.
Yeah, so I prefer a dense table. But I also, like, we use a lot of stones and stuff because it makes it look a little bit more kind of textured. There is also a world where you have so much stuff that you're like, I can't put my fucking models down. And that gets irritating. And then as long as you and your friend have a pretty good understanding that he's there, he might fall off, it's fine. But Pridders also says, thank you for the $10. The easiest way to make a board fair is to make terrain layout symmetrical. Unless you're going for a specific pre-agreed narrative, more asymmetric game, you have to default to that. If we're talking about balance and fairness, yes, I agree, Pridders, 100%.
That Eldar symbol is just the power on symbol. There's a circle with the line through the top.
Yeah. You turn a stone on. Yeah. Honestly, Pridders, I agree. In terms of complete balance and fairness, I agree with you, 100%. But that's the issue, isn't it? So this is part of the whole stream title at the start. When I say narrative terrain ruins Warhammer, it's only because it doesn't ruin Warhammer at all. It doesn't ruin it because it depends what you're trying to do. So if you're trying to take an imperial stronghold with a Tyranid invasion, well then competitive terrain ruins it. Because it doesn't make any sense then, right? As far as I'm concerned. If you have a predetermined mission and you go, right, Joe's going to turn up with his fucking Tyranids, he's been painting 450 Hormagaunts, right? And Brom's got his Ultramarines and some Astra Militarum, and he's got to hold the fortress. And actually, Joe's got a never-ending wave, and every time a unit dies, he can bring it back on in the far corner 6 inches, etc., etc., etc. Then you go, well, then actually having a perfectly symmetrical board ruins it then with perfectly symmetrical objectives. But if you're going to do that latter piece, you go, well, actually, this gateway here is an objective, and if the Tyranids hold it for 2 turns, the gate opens, and etc. You kind of put those sorts of things in. Then I think competitive terrain ruins it, and it makes it worse. So I do agree with you, and I think if you're turning up to have that narrative experience, competitive terrain will then ruin your experience. If you are turning up to have a fun and enjoyable game and have a fair fight with your opponent, and then you get on the table and he's got a giant fortress and you've got massive amounts of open ground, well then that fucking ruins it as well. Because you're going to have a balanced and tournament-based experience, and you've got no cover and he's got loads of cover. It makes it worse. So I think it very much depends what you want out of the game, and it very much depends on who the player is that you're playing with or against. Because I think often. The thing we talk about the least, which we've tried to change here on the channel, but the thing that people talk about the least when it comes to having an enjoyable experience is your opponent. And they talk about balanced armies and broken armies and balanced combinations and Death Stars and bad terrain and good terrain and Planet Bowling Ball and. Actually, often, the whole issue is resolved if your opponent's not a dickhead. It's
the people who are the problem.
It is the people. I think it is the people that are the problem. And this is kind of what Joe was talking about before, right? Narrative people that say they're narrative and then bring the most broken list that exists on the internet.
Yeah.
Well, you're not that narrative, are you? You're just meta chasing, which is fine. That's fine. Just own it, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, enter some gifters, Joe.
Yeah.
Cray, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Craig.
He gave those to me.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay.
And you said the person who gets the hope,
Yeah.
or gives the hope.
Yeah.
I hope for you, Cray, that the next time you go to Japanese Greg's, I assume they've got one, right? Because he's in Japan.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I was wondering where we were going with this one, but there you go.
Buy a warm Greg's sausage roll on your credit card, and what actually happens is they accidentally give you 50,000 points of air miles because he wants to come to the UK, you see. At which point, guess what? The flight's basically covered. I assume that's enough air miles. I have no idea.
I don't understand how air miles work. So.
No, neither do I. That's why I'm just go with me here, Jay. He said it was for me because he wants to come over here so I can try Japanese vodka.
Yeah?
I've not had that before. Is it because you sip it and go, like that?
It's probably in the book.
Thank you so much, Harborn, Mr. The Vortex Games, for the 5 gifted memberships. He says we can fight it out. But Toby already got in there and went, I really love you, Chris. So you can have this one.
I'm also, I predict these may be my only gifted.
Let me have a look at the rest.
I hope.
Yeah, there you're only so far.
Yeah, there we go. It's fine. I'm not offended. I hope, Mr. Vortex Games, that next time a really, really good box, hopefully, the new Horus Heresy Mechanicum stuff for you comes in, and your allocation is really high, and you sell all of them.
The worst part about that hope is, poor old Harborn, that's like 90% of his hopes from you and Joe. I mean, you've done one. His has all been the same.
Well, I didn't know. I mean, okay, I can give him a different one if you like.
No, it's fine. You've peaked now. That's what you get.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Whiskey, not vodka. Oh, I'm much happier with whiskey. I bought some more yesterday. I've currently got this new medicine routine, right? So
You put them all in your bum.
at the weekend, the kids got sick with head colds. Right, well, it started with Ben. Now it's James, and then 2 days ago, Luce said, "I'm starting to feel the tickly throat," and I have zero symptoms.
Do you know what's really good for when you get a tickly throat like that? Making your wife move 3 55-inch TVs when Emma's drop them at the door.
I've told her, right, when he rocks up, open the garage door, stick them in there, shut the garage door. That's fine, and I can load them in the car on Monday. So she started to feel sick like 2 days ago, and she's been taking all these home remedy things to avoid the sickness. I read a paper which is questionable origin, right? So
Does it say that a university?
whether it's an actual doctor or not, I don't know. But I read it and I was like, I like where this is going. Where it said the best way to avoid illness is whiskey, because it kills. There's a percentage of
I don't trust this.
there's a percentage of bacteria that it kills, apparently, right? So since the kids got sick, I've been double whiskey each night. No illness.
I don't trust anything that's like a university study. Basically, a bunch of drunk teenagers have decided that being more drunk helps you not get ill.
So far, Joe, it's working for me, so I'm not going to complain, right? Anyway, that's my tips to keep it away from colds. A double whiskey a day.
I actually need to need
Normally just before you drive.
Yeah, no.
It's also warming in this cold time. Thank you so much. Where are we? We're up here. Mr. The Onyx for the 5 gifted memberships. He gave these to Joe.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Mr. Onyx.
Yeah.
I hope that you gain the ability to communicate with animals, but only in Dutch.
Does that mean if he doesn't know Dutch, he'd have to learn it
He'd have
first?
to learn. If he doesn't know Dutch, he doesn't learn it. But
So in theory, that could actually be plausible
yeah,
if animals actually spoke Dutch.
yeah, like he can. Like the only language they speak is Dutch.
So basically, what we're saying is that all animals just speak Dutch, universally Dutch.
Yeah, and I'm currently trying to find the rules for the.
That share price is still fucking climbing. Right. Thank you so much to Mr. The Lehman Russ for the $5. Liam, if you do get rid of Joe, let me know. I'd happily take him. It's expensive.
I think it's also, we already kind of had gathered that he would take Joe to his basement.
I'm sure you would take him. Mm-hmm. Dirty boy.
Oh.
Right to the hilt, he'd take you, Joe.
Yeah.
Yep. He's fucking expensive, Josh, I'll be honest with you. Mr. Deacon, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. He gave me the hope, right? I hope, Sam, and he said he gave me the hope because I'm the only one paying the contractors. That's exactly what he said.
Well, hopefully we'll still have enough money when the time he gets it.
I hope for you, Sam, that when you come and lay the hobby house flooring, it doesn't run off. And it stays exactly straight. You're going to have to lift it all and lay it again because I'm really anal about that stuff.
Surely
that's
the
a
wish
good
should be,
hope.
I hope that Liam's not really anal.
No, because we need a premium, Joe. I can't have the flooring starting like that and going like that, can I? Cool. Thanks,
You
Sam, for
can.
5 gifted.
I mean, if you have enough whiskies, Liam, it'll look straight.
Mr. the Necromaniac, thank you for the $5. Issue is game is too lethal, so line of sight blocking and obscuring terrain becomes essential and more important than more narrative terrain types. And this is so the thing. One of the problems I think is I talked about earlier about the rules being part of the issue. And part of the issue is around what constitutes what. This is normally a pre-game conversation with your opponent, though, right? Because Joe talks about that big piece that we've got from is it Game Mat?
Yeah.
The big generator piece. And that what you have to do is you have to go, is this obscuring or not? Because at the moment, all the terrain rules are assuming you're using ruins, essentially. And specifically L-shaped ruins. And that's the way you have to go, what's the footprint of this? What's the footprint of this terrain piece? What is it obscuring? So you can still use narrative stuff, but you have to have that conversation. And we've done it a few times where we put a type of terrain on the table that isn't really the most ideal for how the game plays nowadays. And we'll go, can we move through this? Yeah, why not?
Well, it's like we've got a large piece of terrain that's got like a church front that's got a massive door in it, and I always say it's obscuring because if you can see through it, then I could just shoot you whilst you're trying to hide in it. But also, the other way is you can't just move a tank through that thing, right? I find that like when you play against someone like Brom, it's whatever's most convenient for him at the time.
Yeah. And then when you get to it, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Just Brom things.
Yeah.
Just Brom things, yeah.
Did you watch
he's
it?
catching some shade after coming back from one game, isn't he?
He moved my terrain.
Someone in the fucking comments was like, "Oh, I've missed Brom movement." When he goes, "It's my favourite type of movement in the world." If you've ever played someone competitively,
I was watching it. I was like, "Oh, the Brom movement is back."
It's my favourite type of movement for competitive 40k. Because what you do is you'll go, "I can move 6 inches." That's what he does all the time. I've obviously exaggerated it, but the principle is exactly what happens, right?
Yeah. Or he'll be like, "Oh, I fucked up. I can't do this thing. Let's just pretend that I didn't do it and carry on."
But what he'll also do is he'll be like, "So I'll use the edge of this mat here for demonstration purposes," and he'll move something like that, right? And he'll go, oh, "Actually, I don't want to be there. I'll go back to where he was." It's not where he fucking was, but you've got no proof as to where it exactly was. Yeah. So, anyway, I love him. Craig, thank you for the yellow one, the 1,000 Japanese yen. I mean, we played for many editions without L-shaped ruins and had plenty of fun. It probably wasn't the most balanced, but I still had a good time. So what's changed now? Is it nostalgia goggles? Did we play without L-shaped terrain?
I was going to say, I'm going to upset Craig now. We've always had L-shaped ruins. If you go on eBay now and look at Cities of Death, which everyone's selling their old terrain.
You know what? Actually, funnily enough, even before that, do you remember when GW did the polystyrene city pieces? They broke off into guess what shape?
L's.
L's.
In 3rd edition starter box set came plastic terrain, little L's.
Yeah.
When you bought an army combat, when you bought like the
you get the cool tank boxes, trap and then you get an L.
Yeah, and then you get like a little L. Like we've always had, it's always been little L's because buildings are square, and when they collapse, it tends to be the corners.
Yeah. I think he's right. I think we've always had L's, to be honest with you. I don't think you definitely saw,
but they just weren't made of wood. Is the main difference.
Yeah, you definitely see as many of them in the past, right? Because you would see people like, I remember when I was a kid, and we are talking a long old time ago now, but me and my brother would use Pringles cans and old bean cans,
VHS tapes, and
you clean the bean can out. So can you stop dropping your mic? Just the silver.
I'm just gonna put it over there.
Just the silver can, and then you spray that up and what have you, right? So that sort of stuff's kind of existed forever. I think it was the 5th or 6th edition.
2nd edition was cardboard.
The 5th or 6th edition starter set had the little ruin elves in it. Do you remember those little ones? Yeah. And you got like a little tank trap and some barrels.
In late 8th edition, going into 9th edition, I realised I was on another channel, and we were the root of the problem. It went into U shapes.
Yeah, but I remember when my brother and I played. We had those 2 little L-shaped tiny little ruins. We had the barrels, the tank traps. There was the sticky up tank trap, and then the
crisscross
tank trap, right? And then we had a couple of other little like I said, bean cans, Pringles tubes, VHS tapes, and we played. But the game also, because old AP specifically, but for other reasons, wasn't anywhere near as lethal. There was nothing above strength 10; it didn't exist. There was nothing above toughness 10; didn't exist.
No.
So then we didn't need as much terrain. Because of the way Lethality's gone, with strengths, toughnesses, damages, wounds, what's then happened is lots of stuff dies faster, so we need more terrain. The second we need more terrain, big flat pieces of terrain become less functional, and you need things that will block line of sight because the Lethality's increased. So actually, one of the biggest problems, arguably, has been the arms race that's happened over the course of the last 4 or 5 editions. And again, looking at AP specifically, go back to Heresy. Not saying Heresy is a better game, for clarity, but a lot less stuff dies. And it is also easy to balance when you're playing Space Marines versus Space Marines. That's obviously true. And if you're going to have as many factions as Eldar and Drakari and Tyranids and Tau and Votan and et cetera, and you want that level of variety to be able to correctly kind of narratively put out on the tabletop what they do and demonstrate what they can do, then I think you have to accept the fact that it's going to be difficult to keep that lethality in check. Otherwise, you go, everyone's just got a bolt gun profile. It's just called something different. And we definitely went through that for a while as well, where everything was a bolt gun. Everything was strength 4 AP5. Was all your basic guns. So it doesn't matter if it was called a flesh borer, a bolt gun, a shuriken catapult. It was strength 4 AP5. That's what it was, right? And when I say AP5, I don't mean -5, I mean AP5.
I mean, I know it's not quite on topic, but do you not think like the old, definitely weapon skill initiative and the AP system meant that it was easier to balance the armies in a way that narratively suited them?
Yes.
I do, but I also understand why it might be less appealing to new players.
It's more complicated.
Yes, right. So AP being a minus number and you take it away from army value is really easy. Weapon skill being that's what you roll to hit is really easy. And initiative not being a thing, just if you charge, you fights first is really easy. So, and we talked about this actually quite a lot on Tuesdays, and I know you were downstairs being busy. So in essence,
He was watching the stream.
in essence, I agree with you. I think it's easier to narratively project with those systems in place, and I think it's easier to bring lethality down with those systems in place. But I do also understand why there is a desire to bring in new people. Now, I recently had a call with Games Workshop because I have now signed my retailer agreement, and they've said that there's more people picking the new starter sets, like not combat patrols, literally new starter sets than ever before. Loads of new people coming in, right? If that's the case, you don't want them to go. So firstly, what you've got to do is you've got to work out what your weapon skill is, what your opponent's weapon skill is, and you've got to go into this chart, right? Okay, cool. Right, but before you do that, you've got to go into initiative and work out what their initiative, and it's like, fuck me, I just want to roll some fucking dice. For new people at least. For us old guard, I much prefer those old systems personally. I do, genuinely. But I can also see how break down that barrier, and then if you want that narrative offering, guess what? We've got Horus Heresy.
Yeah, I suppose I get that. I mean, I
think they've been I personally think they've been very clever. You've got Old World, rank and file, wheeling around corners, lots of granular points. You've got Heresy, weapon skill, initiative, armor facings, blast templates, lots of granular points. You then come down, you've got AOS, no granular points, none of that wheeling round nonsense. Still fantasy, however, but you've got a flat to hit roll, a flat to wound roll.
Yeah, they're hitting
you've got
every
40K,
demographic.
It's almost the same. It's just the wound roll's a bit different, but again, it simplifies compared to Heresy. And I think what they've done is, I think if you place it in a grid and you put that kind of Venn diagram out, I think they've been very clever at trying to push those circles out so they don't all converge and do the same thing.
Wouldn't it be great if in a couple of years' time we got the Heresy rule set evolved into covering Heresy and the Scouring, and then you could bring in the likes of Eldar and Orcs into that game system?
I'd be interested to see if bringing in Xenos, for example, into Heresy ruins the game. Because simplistically now what you've got is you've got mostly Admech Custodes, Solar Auxilia, Space Marines, in essence, right? And obviously the Space Marines break into different legions. Have I missed one? Anyway.
Demons of the Runestorm.
Thank you, Demons of the Runestorm. So you've got kind of 5 main factions. Space Marines obviously break down into Loyalist and Heretic, and then they further break down into different specialist units and different...
and your legions,
Legion rules, right? But they are just Space Marines. They are power armor, they're Terminator armor, they're dreadnoughts, they're... what's the new mark of armor called? Saturnine, etc. So they're essentially a single faction. Yeah. If you then bring in Orcs and you bring in Eldar, because I think Joe's talked about Scouring rule set for a long time, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I think that crossover between Heresy and 40k, that would possibly, for me, become my sweet spot. I can play my elves, but I can play them with Heresy-style rules.
Well, basically, what it is Games Workshop going, hey, do you remember 5th edition?
Yeah, right.
And then everyone that's left the game since 8th edition come out, they go like, well, I've not given Games Workshop any money for a while.
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to.
But can you imagine like Beast Arises style Orc big bads in a challenge with Rogal Dawn?
Yeah.
Like just literally
cool.
Banging.
Super cool. Right, exactly. I would love that to happen. Whether that's what they do or not, I don't know.
I think they will I think we'll get it eventually.
If I could play Eldar officially, because a lot of people are going, there's rules for it. If I could play Eldar officially in Heresy, that'd probably be my favourite game in the world.
Yeah, that's fair.
Without doubt. But I can't, and I prefer
Can you
Eldar
imagine the size?
over
I
the
think,
rule
I mean,
set.
there's probably, again, going back to the point I was making about like weapon skill and things like that, is like the way around it with the current rule set, though, I think you can kind of go, okay, well, weapon skill gets complicated or whatever.
I don't think it does, but I'm used to it.
But then you can go, okay, so for example, Marines then, if you have to rejig the AP thing, because currently everything's basically AP2, so you go, okay, well, if you put some guns back to AP1 and go Marines ignore AP1, that kind of balances out how Marines should feel points adjust wise does the job. I still don't think initiative is a complicated stat to have in.
No, initiative's not complicated. Highest number wins. It's easy.
Yeah.
And when people go, I've heard it from 40k. I had a conversation with a 40k player last week, I think it was, who went, weapon skill's too complicated. I was like, how do you work out what your wound roll is in 40k right now?
I mean, if you do your standardised, you can only ever go up by 1 or down by 1.
You don't even need to go up by 1 or down by 1, because can you wound on 2s in 40k?
Yes.
And 3s and 4s and 5s and 6s. So how do you currently work out what your wound roll is? You look at your strength, you look at your opponent's toughness, and you basically consult a chart. Now, it's easier than that, because it's like, if it's 2 times or more, it's this. If it's not 2 times or more, it's this. If it's the same, it's this. If it's less than this, if it's 2 times less, it's this. Just do the same for weapon skill.
Yeah.
So you're already using the mechanism. Like, the mechanism already exists in 40k. It's not like AOS, where you have a flat wound roll, you wound on 3s. So the mechanism already exists. So when any 40k player goes, weapon skill's too complicated, fuck off, you're using it.
Yeah.
Right now.
And it makes way more sense, because I don't like the fact that, you know, a Primarch is hitting another Primarch the same way he's hitting.
So this is what I said last night, right?
Like a guardsman.
A Primarch smashing a fucking guardsman in the face from Solar Auxilia should hit them on 2s. So Angron hitting a guardsman, if we take 40k right now, Angron hitting a guardsman on 2s, not a problem with that in the world.
No.
Perfectly happy with that, can't complain ever. Angron then runs into Fulgrim and also hits the Master Swordsman, who's also Demon Primarch, on 2s? Nah, I'm not having
That's
that.
bullshit.
Right, exactly. And that weapon skill mechanism allows you to differentiate against what you're hitting, because if the thing you're hitting is a more accomplished bladesman, then you should have a harder time hitting them. That's how it should work. But that's an opinion. That's my opinion. A scouring, like I said, if you put Eldar in Heresy, that becomes my favourite game. Having played Heresy with John here, it's my favourite rule set. But where I love that rule set, and I love Eldar sits just above the rule set, so I play 40k.
You would have to have a lot of Eldar on the table, though, if you did them in Horus Heresy.
You reckon?
Because obviously Horus Heresy plays at
Legion level.
2,500 is the
Well, yeah, it used to be 3,000. Now between 2,000 and 3,000 is considered a normal-sized game.
So I think if you were running Eldar in Horus Heresy, like, you wouldn't be able to run MSG. Like, every squad is 10 people.
I'd love to see it, though. Units of 20 Guardians, can you imagine?
So Storming Fish says weapon skill chart also allows them to balance dice without the need for rerolls. Well, their old ballistic skill, it was a reroll, but it also did that as well without a reroll or hits. Because at the moment you have reroll ones, reroll hits. The old ballistic skill chart, I fucking adored it. So depending on your ballistic skill, depending on what you rolled to hit, and if you missed, what your reroll then was. So if you're a ballistic skill 6, you hit on a 2, but if you missed, you could reroll, but you then only hit on a 6.
Yeah.
If you're ballistic skill 10, you hit on a 2. If you missed, you could then reroll and hit on a 2. But if you're ballistic skill 9, you hit on a 2. If you missed and rerolled, you hit on a 3. It gave such variety in what a ballistic skill could be that you although it was a reroll, like it was less of a reroll everything or reroll once.
Yeah.
Because I think there's too much reroll everything. So I think there's too much fully efficient shooting.
Well, that's what I like about Age of Sigmar, right? It's the fighting has evolved, so you have the fight first step if you have a rule that gives you fight first. Charging doesn't give you fight first. It's normally a spell or an enhancement or like a character ability like that's given. And then you have the fight normal step, and then you have the fight last step. And then, but like, you still alternate within those steps.
But I prefer the way OS does it to the way 40k does it.
Yeah.
But the other reason why I prefer that, though, is because you don't, in 40k, you're in a situation where you charge with your army, unless they've got CP to interrupt or a stratagem, you fight with everything. And there are worlds when, I've played against Tom, there are worlds when you just pick up 4 of your units and you haven't got to do anything.
Yeah.
In AOS, you fight with a unit, and then I fight with a unit, and then you fight with a unit, and I fight with a unit, and half the time, the unit isn't picked up.
The only times that the activations change is whoever's turn it is gets to pick the first unit. And that's literally it.
Yeah.
And then you get certain like on-foot leader characters who might make their battle line unit then be able to fight directly
you can
after
have like
them.
chain activation.
Yeah.
So like if a skeleton lord fights, then he can make a unit of skeletons next to him fight. But the units that they activate don't tend to be
Great.
like great, or like one of them's good but the other one's shit. You know, and it balances itself out that way.
Gaz is just exclamation mark gifted, by the way, chat. If you wanted to know, we're 19 members away from target.
Yeah, I love Age of Sigmar.
It's great. I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't played Old World, but I've read the rules. I love all 4 games.
I think Old World allows for some of the most insanely batshit things to happen.
But I think that I don't like this, one is better than the other than is better than the other. Like I said, I think what they've done is they've taken these circles of rules in this Venn diagram, and what they've done is they've pulled them out so they service different crowds. I think it's really clever.
But like I do, yeah. Although I do find old world rules are also more brutal when it goes wrong. So
I miss playing fantasy.
you could charge someone, kill nothing, they kill one of your models,
and you run away.
And then you run away.
Yeah.
I had it where I played against an orc chariot army. So say these are all of his chariots. He'd lined up in his deployment zone, and then in my turn, I had the Green Knight pop up here, right?
Yeah.
And then when he charges, you have to take a panic check because he causes fear. The first chariot failed. When you run away from the thing that causes the fear test, right? And you keep running away until you can be placed. So he started here and then popped out at the end of his army there, right? Which also happened to be the end of the table.
Yeah,
So he just ran off the table.
Yeah.
But what happens is when a unit that's failed a panic check runs through a unit,
They panic.
they panic. So his entire army had to take a panic check. And they're orcs with shit leadership. They all failed and ran backwards off the table. And you just lost, literally turn one. I was like, let's pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah,
You know?
let's re-rack that.
Yeah, let's just pretend that they didn't all fail and the game isn't over. So it is like one thing can happen and it just creates this insane chain reaction.
Which, if you're not playing competitively, is cool.
Yeah.
Right? But
Yeah, and we were playing a tournament, so
Yeah, of course.
less cool. But it is more brutal in what happens. The Lord of Scores is terror. It's the same thing, right? But like stuff like that, that can't happen in 40k. That can't happen in Age of Sigmar. And
love
there's
it,
less feel bads, but it is hilarious when it happens.
Thank you, Des, for the $5. Easy fix for narrative terrain. One person sets up the board, the other one gets to choose their deployment zone. Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you set up the deployment zone and you roll for it randomly. You know, that sort of thing also works. But yeah, 100%. I don't know how often, actually, though, it is a problem that a person sets it up just to skew in their favour. And if I had a friend who did that frequently, I'd be like, you're not a friend and I'm not playing you anymore.
You're a douchebag.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh, for $5. How do you make sure someone's got a narrative army for a narrative event? That is a fucking incredible question.
This is a loaded question.
And the reason why it's an incredible question is I don't have an answer for it.
It's because narrative is different for everyone, right? And everyone... So say you're doing a narrative event, I would argue you do it based on a fixed Games Workshop narrative and you don't let people make up their own.
I think the only way you do it is by introducing list building restrictions on a faction per faction basis.
Yeah,
That's what I was going to say.
Because I think if you go, that's not narrative, someone can go, it's my narrative,
Yeah.
and I've written narrative for it.
Yeah.
I think if you go, and this isn't the fix, if for the sake of argument, when everyone has to adhere to old combined arms attachment, that's the only way you have to put. I think you have to put in a framework. And if they build it within the framework, they've done what you've asked them to.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way you can do it. Because otherwise. But then, having said that, I've seen narrative armies that would fit within framework that you go, fucking Jesus.
Yeah, so it's like it's difficult, right? So we had this talk about narrative versus competitive the other day, and I think that we're in armies now are, like I said, I've gone away and had to figure out. Armies now are arguably the most narrative they've ever been.
They can
Right.
be. They can
Based
be.
on the rule set that you're given
Yep.
by Games Workshop in the codexes, you can make insanely narrative armies. The problem
can.
is that the narrative isn't equal, right? So
It's also subjective.
So a Tau codex is incredibly narrative because you go, who's your leader? Farsight. What does he like? Crisis suits, right? He fucking loves crisis suits, doesn't he? You just can't have enough, right? So you just go, what's your army? It's fucking crisis suits. Unfortunately, what's really fucking good in Tau? Crisis suits, right?
Yeah.
So people are like, that's not narrative. You're actually, it's really narrative. Calgar, rocking around with Sicarius and, fucking it's 18 Victrix Guard.
A sea of Victrix, yeah.
Sea of Victrix Guard and Blade Guard. You realise it's not narrative. Well, actually,
Well,
yes,
hang on.
yes, it is because that's literally his bodyguard.
Isn't the rule of 3 for match play?
Yeah.
So strictly for narrative play, you could have 30 fucking Victrix Guard.
Yeah, you could just have.
That sounds like a
Calgar
fucking really fun
and then-
time.
And then as many points of Victrix as you can literally fit in.
Right.
Right. Because we know that a first company is 100 Space Marines, but bodyguards aren't actually included as part of.
They were
a
selected from the
company.
veterans, but yeah.
Like Blood Angels only have access to 18 Sanguinary Guard
Currently in the match play rules.
currently in match play rules, but narratively, I think it's 24. that they
Gaz
have,
has also
so-
nailed something as well here as well, which is
that?
important. I think it's relevant to Josh's question. I also think some people get lore accurate and narrative armies confused. Facts.
Oh, well, of course, because, I can't make up my own lore-accurate army, but I can make up my own narrative.
Yeah, of course. But people will look at something and go, that's not narrative. And what they mean is it's not lore accurate.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's not narrative, because narrative's subjective. He then gifted 5, and he selected you, Jay.
Who is this?
Mr. the Josh, Mr. the Lehman Russ.
I hope that you ditch World Eaters and go to Space Wolves.
Because of his name.
Because if you're called Late Lehman Russ, you have
Yeah.
to.
Or he should change his YouTube name to Angram.
Have you locked the office door and he's coming for a chat? Because he's making a hell of a racket down there.
No, I haven't. No, I can go
And
in.
he does like to talk to you.
Do you want me to investigate?
Ben, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. I'm pretty sure these also went to you, Jay.
Who?
Ben?
Ben?
Yeah.
Which Ben?
Just says Ben.
Ben, I hope that you have the ability to wish up any food you can imagine. It just turns up in front of you, right?
What would you wish up?
But I think of the side effect.
Oh, we're doing side effects again. I'm here for it.
I like the wish / side effect.
The
situation.
superpower stroke side effect is the best wish we've done.
The downside is that like you never gain or lose weight. You always stay exactly the same as what you are now.
That could be a good thing.
It could be a good thing if you're currently in a great shape.
Yeah, could be a terrible thing.
Could be a terrible thing, but you can have any food you ever wanted.
If every time you currently walk, you can hear the sound of a trombone, it could be a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Um,
what would you wish up?
What would I wish up? If I could wish up any food?
Yeah.
Once you've chosen that food, is that the only food that ever comes?
No, you could be like, today I want a chicken korma,
my
bang,
God.
chicken korma, and you could be in bed, right? You're like, oh man, I really wish I had
Some McDonald's nuggets.
Yeah, just bang.
Lamb
happens.
chops. I like lamb chops quite a
Yeah.
lot.
I maintain one of the best foods ever to eat in all time is a country pub lasagna, chips and bits.
Yeah, I know you said this before. I
Fucking
like lamb
with
lots.
ketchup.
Lamb's like one of my favourite things. We don't have it very. We had lamb yesterday actually as a roast dinner. We don't have it very often because it's fucking expensive.
Yeah.
And I fucking love lamb chops because lamb chops, not only are they lamb, they're so small you don't ever feel like you get the value from buying them. So I wouldn't have to buy them, and you eat them off the bone like a real man.
What about you, Tobe?
I'm probably going buffalo wings.
Yeah.
Oh, do you like buffalo wings?
Fucking love buffalo wings.
I have discovered I like Italian food made in English ways, right? I don't like lasagna made by Italians. It's like no, it's not on. I like English thickness, right?
Yeah, okay.
I like Italian pizza. They're like you may have 3 shreds of cheese and like 2 bits of pepperoni. They're like maximum thinness, and I'm like thick.
We're Toby and I are thinking about doing pizzas downstairs.
Yeah.
Would you eat pizzas from here?
Well, it depends if they're any good. Because I've had.
We can't offer a premium.
How are you cooking them?
in a pizza oven?
Good start. Right. Because I've been offered pizzas before, and it's a burger bun with ketchup on it.
Actual pizzas.
People who do that to you, Joe, I will go live on the internet and say they should be shot.
Yeah.
So we were looking at which pizzas we can get in, and what I said to Toby was we can't be offering a premium venue in the cheapest fucking pizza we can buy
No, 100%.
because that doesn't match.
Yeah.
Doesn't fit.
We would be able to do some obviously it is the most cost-effective way of doing it is to get like a really decent, and I'm talking not like going to Tesco and buying the Tesco value, but we're talking like a premium product frozen pizza cooked in a proper pizza oven, right? So you can get some quite nice ones of those. I had a nice one the other day. It was a barbecue chicken and chorizo one.
Yeah. So then you can have pizza here as well. I know you fucking love pizza, don't
I do
you?
love pizza.
Are you considering pizza now, Joe?
I'm just figuring out.
I am actually.
I think we worked out that if we can sell 36 pizzas to Joe in a year, the oven would pay for itself. That was the conversation.
It was part of the math.
Today.
I had pizza for dinner last night actually.
You'll love to know that we talk about you when we're in the office and you're not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can sell 36
Yeah, but
pizzas
it's always
to
in the
Joe-
worst case. Like, Joe's a fat cunt. He likes pizza.
That was
I'm
not.
gonna make
Those
loads of
words
money off
never
it.
left my mouth.
That was not what we...
It's what you were thinking, though.
John McCardle, thank you for 40 gifted memberships. He also picked you.
Oh, I love you, John.
I'm lying, he didn't pick anyone, but...
Should we all give John one?
I like Joe's superpower with a downside facts. That's
Yeah.
my favourite.
I hope, John, that you have the ability to teleport yourself anywhere in the world, right? So you can just come and visit us whenever you want, and you could carry luggage at the same time, but you can only do it naked. So when you teleport, your clothes stay behind.
Do you know where you're teleporting to?
Yeah.
Like, can you go, I specifically want to go in the train room? Or can
Yeah.
you be like, I'm just in the studio, oh fuck, I'm not in the train room.
No,
Yeah,
you
'cause
don't-
you'd be like,
you don't-
Liam, I need you to put a suitcase of clothes in
It
this
has
room.
maximum control over it, right?
Okay, right, okay, that's not so bad.
Like you could be like, I know where I'm going to go, and that's where I'm going to be, right? But you could be carrying stuff, so like he could bring his heresy armies with him because they're not going to burden him.
And that would also
with
be,
the postage.
that would also transfer.
That would transfer.
But he'd lose his clothes.
But if you're wearing it, gone.
Does he get dressed and then it disappears as he dressed, or does he have to get naked and stand with his heresy
So you have to
teleport?
completely take all your clothes off, put them into your bag.
Yeah.
But could he put the clothes in the box with the models?
Can
and then,
he fold them into a pile on top of his box? And then
Yeah, or,
get dressed
or like if you're not taking boxes, fully naked, hold on to clothes,
Yes.
teleport, put clothes back on.
Perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
Spot on. Thank you, Get Good 40k, you hero, for the $5. Most of the fun of Comp 40k is making meme lists, but using a sprinkle of meta to make it work. Well, you do this, don't you? Hence Double Redeemer 3-0 Joe.
Yeah, the problem is I got to a period of time where I stopped to give a fuck. I just didn't care at tournaments. I was like, I'm gonna take what I think is good, but I also am gonna just roll with a little bit of insanity. So double redeemers was great because no one was really prepared to deal with double redeemers, and I thought it was funny. And also, like at the
But
time,
it's a bit of a meme list.
It's a meme list.
You
but
love redeemers.
Yeah, but at the same time, I had a massive 10-man brick of assault intercessors with a sanguinary priest and Sephin who could just body everything in the game.
So, Joe, do you reckon you could make a list of 3 Redemptors, 3 Brutalis, 3 Ballistas, and 2 Tech Marines work?
yeah,
That's a good meme.
the new Ultramarine detachment.
Yeah?
It's fucking hilarious in that.
Yeah.
Because you have an entire army of dreadnoughts that have access to -1 to be wounded. Right?
That sounds like a good
They
laugh,
can
doesn't
always
it?
be in dev doctrine, so they can always advance and shoot. You know, they also have. You can always have like fall back and shoot.
Let's see
in
how much
charge,
that is with Calgar in it, shall
Right?
we?
It's a list that just kind of functions.
It is.
So yeah, you can just run troll stuff and just have a great time.
You can, yeah. I think you can definitely. My favourite, the people that always seem to be having the most fun is the people that do exactly what he's just said. You take a meme kind of list,
Yeah.
you sprinkle in a bit of meta so you can still play the game.
Yeah.
But you take a meme kind of list, and then the amount of times you'll see them put that arm on the table, and people will go, "I fucking love that.
Yeah.
I have no idea how I'm going to deal with it.
Yeah.
I fucking love that. That's cool as shit."
And then like my other Land Raider had 12 Blade Guard, 2 captains, and 2 lieutenants.
Yeah, it
in
did, didn't it?
And it just YOLOs forward. Depending on the deployment, you could just move forward 12, disembark, and just charge everything. Or you move forward, sit in the middle of the table, and then the next turn you move forward and then do it. And it was a great list.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you for the $5, mate. You're a hero. Stefan, thank you for the 1 gifted membership. Gaz, thank you for the 1 gifted membership. We are on 82. You only have to do 118 tonight. It's easier than normal. So, and then thank you, Pie Walker, for 5 gifted memberships.
Who for?
He didn't say.
Oh.
So who did you want to do it? Who did you want to do the hope? Toby can do the hope.
Toby could do the hope.
All right, we're doing the superpower ones. I quite like that.
So for Mr. Pie Walker, you've got to give him a superpower
Right.
and then have a negative effect happening at the same time.
Okay. So, I think his superpower will be that he can go into like a school or into.
Fucking hell, we started strong. Where's my dump button?
I want to see where this ends, you know?
a school or into like a mall, shopping mall, or like a supermarket, or whatever.
Yeah.
And if there's just like an old lady's like being attacked or whatever.
This is getting worse.
yeah, like, and he can save them, right? So his superpower is that he can throw pies. They just appear in his hand. He can throw pies, and it stops the bad guys, right? But the problem is that his parents have to continually make the pies for him. So he can go and save people by throwing pies at them, but someone has to make those pies.
Yeah.
So whilst he's living the good pie life,
Yeah.
and he can just manifest a pie and be like, there you go, Joe, there's a pie. But his poor old mum.
Pie Walker on Tuesday said that I had flying, but only while singing the national anthem.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you. And then thank you, Nick, at the end. How can you tell self-described narrative players don't care about the meta? Don't worry, they'll tell you. They do.
Yeah, narrative players are like are the vegans of 40k.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know where you're going.
Yeah. Because
Cunts.
Thanks very much, everybody. I really appreciate that, Joe. I'll remember this.
I didn't say that word, right? But they will tell you their displeasure. You know.
Yeah. Right, you people.
No,
are gonna
okay, I'll say I'll get rid of vegan, right? Like narrative players are the Karens of 40k.
I'm not a Karen either.
Yeah.
Right. You people have been incredible. Thank you so much for hanging out
you.
today on the show. We have got to a mighty 82 members. So if you are caring and you love us all, then tonight we'll get to 118 for Joe and Paddy's Fuckfest. I've seen the lists. It will be. I'll be posting them in Discord in about 10 minutes. That's it for the Liam and Joe show today. So that's the next one this evening at 7:30. Paddy will take on Joe. Tom's here to run the deck. Tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. I have a planned after dark stream if I'm back from Birmingham in time, and I do intend to be back from Birmingham.
What are you doing in Birmingham?
Motorcycle Live. It's the annual motorcycle event. It's huge. Yeah.
What do they do with that?
You go around looking at motorbikes, but every manufacturer.
Yeah, but are the motorbikes
okay.
like how is a motorbike live?
Well, it's not.
It's like
They do like shows. There's still
because like I understand like football live.
It's like
they're presenting and they're playing.
It's like
football.
Comic-Con but for motorbikes, Joe. All right.
All right, that
That
makes
way.
sense. I get you now.
Right?
Yeah. Do you dress up as a motorbike?
Yes.
I like
why
the
not?
idea. They're like, oh, I'm my favourite sprocket. You know.
So that's I'm there tomorrow, so I should be back in time for a stream in the evening. I'll keep you updated. I don't see unless there's like a fucking accident on the motorway because it's a 3-hour drive anyway.
Caused by a motorcyclist.
Caused by probably motorcyclists, yeah. So keep an eye out for that one. It might be that the show gets cancelled tomorrow. It depends on how long we are there for, what time we leave, and how long it takes us to get back. So just a heads up. But you have got Joe and Paddy tonight for the live game, and then we'll be back on Monday with another hobby show. And I think, I'm not sure, there might be some content Sunday morning with a bit of ads, possibly. I keep saying this, but I keep running out of time and desire and energy. So
I won't be involved because I'm going to be swimming.
Yeah.
With Big Ash.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then showering together.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, he's quite wide. I imagine he has spots he can't reach.
Yeah. So you'll be in on Tuesday like fucking John Wayne. Cool. Right.
Jesus Christ.
You lot are awesome.
I'll be dressed like John Wayne.
You lot are awesome.
Yeah.
Careful of black ice. I'm taking the car to Motorcycle Live because I'm also taking 2 people with me. So, you know.
You're not going on a motorcycle?
Fuck no, it's the temperature.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a serious lack of commitment going on here.
Shit, I'm not riding 3 hours.
Can't you
on a
put the
naked
bike in
fucking
the back
sports
of the
bike?
Liam mobile and then get like 5 miles away, then get on, pull the bike out the back of the car and drive in?
You're just like such a fair weather cyclist you are, aren't
I'm
you?
not, but
You're
I'm not
just
doing
a real part-timer.
I'm not doing 3 hours in -1 to get to and if you're riding at 70 mile an hour and it's mostly motorway, you get a wind chill of about 10 degrees.
I hope there's a bunch of motorcyclists in that car park when you arrive and they all just shun you. They're like, shame.
This
Shall they ring a bell?
This is not the first time I've been to Motorcycle Live, and trust me, most people turn up in cars.
Fair weather dweebs. You know? Right, and then they spit on you.
I'm specifically going to shop for a Joe-ped. Right, so anyway, thank you so much for watching, you wonderful humans. Hopefully we'll see you tonight for that live game of 40k. We've got Blood Angels versus Emperor's Children in a Paddy versus Joe slugathon. Paddy's here for a quick time, so get those members in early.
I'm the slug, and he is.
Thank you so much for watching, you wonderful human beings. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye, have a wonderful time.
Bye-bye.